It all starts with the girl being locked up in prison and asking her sister to let her out. She began to cry and beg her sister, because she herself clearly did not want to be there. The sister looks at the girl, saying that she doesn't look like someone who repents at all. Stella says it's punishment for hurting Luke, adding that it's not enough. She says that her sister is the daughter of a pathetic concubine, and how dare she behave like that. Layla says that he started it first, talking about her appearance, and even laughed at her. She looked at her sister with anger, because this is a natural thing. After all, the girl's appearance is proof of dirty blood, as Stella said. Layla says that she didn't choose her appearance and is not at all to blame for it. Taking out a knife, Stella asks if she doesn't understand the situation she's in. Confidently throwing the knife into the cage, Layla raised her head, looking at Stella, not understanding what she wanted. Stella says that since she is hated, then why not die, because this decision will be better for everyone. Laughing at the fact that Layla was feeling so bad, she left, but the girl was trembling. She was angry and saddened by her situation. Evil clouded her mind, because this was the first time she had been in such a situation. Taking the knife in her hands, the girl asked herself what she had done that made them wish her death. The girl hated her appearance, especially her hair. But if everyone wants her dead, they'll get it right now. With tears in her eyes, Layla promises that she will curse everything after her death. Suddenly, the girl started laughing, and it was already clear that she had gone crazy. Gradually, the girl begins to come to her senses, realizing that she is in some dark room and still cold. But the prison was not completely dark, because there was a candle burning, which at least somehow illuminated this place. There was also a bucket of water in the cell. But the girl wasn't very interested in this. She wanted to understand where she was. She thinks it looks more like a prison from a movie or a game. But he can't understand where he is. Suddenly, the girl felt a lot of pain in her arm. Looking at her hand, the girl saw that her hand was bleeding. And it's not just bleeding, it's like a waterfall gushing out. When she came to her senses, she did not understand what was happening or why she had a knife in her hand. Looking back, she saw something she didn't expect at all. Turning around, she looked at the blood for a long time and realized that she was bleeding heavily. But first, we need to stop this. It would be better to wash the wound, but there is no sink there. Layla's head is still spinning. She understands that she needs to press on the wound to stop the bleeding. But first, you need to take something suitable to press your hand against. She looked at the bed, or rather at the fabric that was there, and thought that it could come in handy right now. Taking the knife in her hands, the girl tore the sheet into shreds. Putting a piece of cloth on her hand, she sighed heavily, because she had found a solution to stop the bleeding, but there was nothing to bandage it with. Suddenly, the girl remembered the bow on her dress. Having taken it off, the girl began the important task of bandaging. Still, it's hard to bandage yourself alone. Having bandaged her hand, the girl stopped the bleeding. Now all she has to do is keep the wound above the level of her heart, and the bed will do that. With a heavy sigh, the girl accepted her fate. There was just one thing she didn't understand. Layla didn't understand where she was. And why does she have such long hair? It never happened before. And then the girl began to remember her past life. Layla previously worked as a nurse in Japan. Working as a nurse was a joy for Layla. She loved interacting with the patients who were in the hospital. And after the night shift, as a reward for herself, the girl liked to buy desserts and return home. But suddenly the phone rang. Hearing the ringing, the girl immediately began to take her phone out of her bag. Having taken it out, the girl answered the call while crossing the road. But she didn't notice how the car was rushing straight towards her. But the situation was already inevitable, because an accident happened. Seeing that the girl had been hit by a car, passers-by immediately panicked. People started shouting for an ambulance, but it was too late. The last thing the nurse saw was the sweetness she never got to taste. But everything was not as simple as it seemed. When she woke up, the girl was covered in blood, with a knife in her hand instead of a Western pear tartlet. And this girl, into whom the nurse has possessed, is called Layla. The girl turned out to be Layla Genser, who was the princess of Graduary. And her father is the king who rules the Greyjoys. But her mother was a foreign prostitute. That is why her father despised Layla, and her sister mocked her, calling her illegitimate. With such a life, Layla could not grow up kind. She punished servants for the slightest mistake, also took lands from minor nobles for trifles, and in every way took out her anger on the weak. Layla was very angry with Ludwig, who touched on her appearance. It was a sore subject for Layla. Layla was ready to kill Louis, but she did otherwise. Layla placed her hand on Louis's chest and pushed him. And she didn't just push him, she pushed him straight down the stairs. Louis was unable to keep his balance, which was obvious. The man always laughed at her black hair, and in a fit of anger, Layla pushed him down the stairs. Louis didn't understand that he would ever play himself out, but now that day has come. The man was lying on the floor. It was painful for him to get up, and servants surrounded him, asking how he was. And Layla looked at the man with anger because he had acted ugly towards the girl. Louis, the future king, who marries Layla's sister. After that incident, Layla was immediately thrown into prison, and she was there to understand that she was guilty before Louis. It was strange for the girl that she was now recalling other people's memories, but there were also strange sensations that enveloped her. After all, in essence, the girl died in another country. But now the girl found herself in another body, in Layla's body. The nurse hopes that this is just a dream, but unfortunately, it is not. Suddenly, the girl heard someone coming. Looking forward, she saw her cell being opened. The knight stood before the girl and ordered her to come out, saying that Layla had been sentenced. And so the girl goes to her father to understand what the sentence is. She already had time to think that this could be an execution. But the wound could still become inflamed, and the girl would like to treat it. The girl became more and more scared, and the hall was getting closer and closer. And now they were already there. The man looked displeasedly towards Layla and the guards. Suddenly, Layla stopped and decided to ask for something. The princess says that she has a wound and it needs to be treated. The knights say that her father is waiting for her. And then the doors opened. The girl still didn't know what awaited her. And in the throne room sat the father. Next to him stood his daughter and Louis. The father looked at the girl, waiting for her to come in. Also, Stella and Ludwig noticed the girl. Seeing the people, the nurse immediately realized that it was Layla's family. As soon as the knights brought the girl, the man pretended to feel ill, but Stella began to calm him down. Stella looked at Louis with pain, because her sister's appearance causes trauma to everyone. Layla stood there, not bothering anyone, but suddenly she was called. Stella started yelling at the girl, saying that she was still alive, that she had pushed a man down the stairs, and now she dared to show her ugly face. Suddenly, Stella grabbed the girl by a strand of hair, which caused pain to Layla. Stella ordered her to kneel before Louis and beg for forgiveness. The girl felt ashamed, because Stella was doing this right during the audience. And it's no wonder that Layla grew up so cruel. Only Layla really did push Louis down the stairs. Bowing her head before the man, the girl asked if the boy was wounded. Stella stamped her foot, saying that she really thought that if he had gotten hurt, everything would have ended so easily. The girl scolded her sister, asking if she understood how much pain it was for Louis, even from just one touch of her hands. As her sister scolded her, Layla realized that she had been interrupted like this for the first time since her nursing internship. As the girl remembers, back then, senior colleagues also often shouted at students. Stella asks if Layla is listening to her. Suddenly, a man spoke to the girl, voicing the name Louis, saying that he is the future king, and does Layla understand this? The girl understands that even if the owner of this body grew up in difficult conditions, the fact remains that she harmed another person, but everything could have ended much worse. But she was already used to getting scolded by doctors or senior nurses, but still, she didn't do this. Layla understands that she is guilty, and says that she is ready to accept any punishment, no matter how severe it may be. The man says pleading guilty will not change her sentence. Hearing this, Louis and Stella smiled. Suddenly, the man says that the girl will marry the emperor. The princess didn't understand anything, which emperor, and most importantly, where. But after thinking a little, she understood. The girl is sent to a neighboring country, with which there was recently a war, and to an enemy at that. The girl realized that she was being sent as a concubine, and they also wanted to get rid of the unnecessary princess by sending her to the enemies. Ludwig and Stella laughed at the idea of Layla being punished like this. Layla wondered how she could marry a stranger, and even her enemy. But she also realized that this was a chance to get out of this dark place. If the emperor likes the girl, she will immediately become empress. Even if someone tries to underestimate Layla, she has good patience, because she developed this patience in the hospital. The Kingdom of Tully, a neighboring country of the Kingdom of Greyjoy, which waged war for many years for control of the seas. However, after significant losses, both sides signed a truce. The new Emperor Louis is known as a cold-blooded tyrant, although Louis was only fifth in line to the throne. After the previous emperor fell ill, he accused his brothers of treason and executed each of them, one after the other. Rumor has it that all these accusations were fabricated by Louis. Moreover, Louis executed even his closest associates. And he imprisoned his mother, whose name was Anna, under the pretext of illness. In the empire, no one dares to contradict Louis. But also, according to Tully traditions, the new emperor must take 13 wives. And so, Layla is riding to the prince in a carriage in such terrible weather. Suddenly, the man says that Layla should try to attract the attention of the emperor, but fortunately, due to past internal conflicts, Louis does not have any wives left with him from when he was a prince. 13 wives were summoned to the capital at the same time, and first impressions would be the key to the rivalry. Hearing this, the girl sighed heavily, because as it turned out, everything was not so easy. Layla realized that she would not only have to marry the enemy, but also take part in some kind of competition for the attention of the cold-blooded emperor. Louis stated that he would divorce his other wives as soon as the first heir was born. Layla was surprised by this when she heard about the heir. Layla says that Louis himself organized the fight for the throne, if rumors are to be believed, but the man says that no matter what rumors there are, if she says such a thing in front of the emperor, they will be immediately divorced. The girl was surprised that this was even possible, but she thought that she could return to her homeland. The man asked if she really thought she would be able to return to her homeland. He replies that if she does not take the place of the empress, the girl will actually be expelled from the country. Layla realized that everything was really bad, and that she would probably have to fight. The man says that she can use magical artifacts, because she is from a royal family after all. The girl's appearance may find recognition in the empire. The girl herself understands that it was too harsh. But Layla doesn't understand why she can't use magic. After all, where she is, this is considered a normal thing. And magical artifacts make people's lives easier, but as it turns out, Layla is deprived of magical power and understands that she seems so helpless. And if Layla is expelled from this world, everything will be bad, very bad. After all, this would mean death, and only death. The girl understands that she must cope. Suddenly, Layla asks the guy if he was a duke. The girl extends her hand, hoping that they will get along. Suddenly, the man turned away, and the girl thought that she was being ignored. But the man decided to talk to the girl, intending to say his name. The man introduced himself as Alex. The girl didn't understand what was wrong with him, and he clenched his hand into a fist, gathering his courage to continue the conversation with the girl. The man realizes that the girl doesn't remember him at all. Alex says his family lost their land, and it's all because of her. The man says he became a servant and was banished from the kingdom along with the girl. She listened to him, not fully understanding what was happening and who he was. But suddenly, the girl understood everything. She remembered that day and what she did then. Layla took their land, all because of the color of their clothes. When meeting members of the royal family for the first time, one had to wear clothes of their color. This was a sign of respect. But the count, who had recently arrived from the provinces, did not know this. Layla often took out her anger on those who were below her in status, and she made many enemies for herself who would not want her to live any longer. Suddenly, the girl bowed and apologized to the duke. After hearing the apology, the man was shocked because he did not expect this. But Layla continues, saying that her behavior in the past has caused a lot of pain, and she is not asking the man to forgive her. But she hopes that Alex will stay with her in the future. The man says that he will stay with the girl, then she raises her head, looking at the man. He added that it was his duty. And so they continued on their way on a good note. Soon they arrived at the place where the event was to take place. And the weather was still the same, but it was very beautiful. Layla arrived from the Greyjoy kingdom. The girl was met by a butler, who said that she would be presented to the emperor in order of priority and that she should wait until she was called. The girl thanked the man, and he went about his business. The princess understood that she would soon meet the cold-blooded emperor, and she was very nervous. Alex, despite his coldness, chose a dress of the same color as the emperor's clothes. Suddenly, a girl approached Layla, asking if she was also waiting for an audience. It was a very beautiful girl who smiled at Layla. Layla understood that a real princess stood before her. The girl bowed and introduced herself as Layla Genser. The other girl introduced herself as Leah Arden. Seeing how the girl was dressed, Layla began to worry about her. Layla said that the emperor was wearing white today, and Leah should change. The girl covered herself with a fan and said that no one had told her about this. Leah thanked the girl, saying that she would definitely change her clothes so as not to provoke the emperor's anger. Layla said that everything was fine. She looked at the girl, remembering how she was offended in the hospital, not being given necessary and important information. The girl understands that in such a world there are also such people. Leah leaves smiling. She is clearly planning something. Suddenly, the butler says that Layla can come in. The girl was so worried, because it was her turn, although she was not the last, but such people always get the best places. Layla knew she had to make a good impression to stay alive. And so, doors opened for the girl. Entering the throne room, Layla saw Louis. The girl was terrified. Her face was gone. The emperor is dressed in white, but something is clearly wrong here. After all, the wives were not dressed in the emperor's colors, which seemed very strange to Layla. So some people laughed at her, but she still doesn't understand what's going on. And the emperor also looks as if he is not happy with the girl. But it would be okay if everyone wasn't looking at her. What was also strange was that there was another girl standing next to them. It was Leah who set Layla up by not telling her that she had to change her clothes. Suddenly, the man spoke to the girl, saying that they accepted her. But they didn't just accept it, but rather as a symbol of truce. But the man cannot understand the intentions of the girl standing in front of him. Layla remained silent, not knowing what to say, and in principle did not know about the intentions. She asked the guy what her intentions might be. Layla smiled awkwardly, as this was the first time she had been in such a situation. The girl herself doesn't yet know what her intentions might be. Suddenly, the man began to say that the rumors that the youngest princess was arrogant were true. He also asks the girl if she really thinks she is on the same level as the emperor. Afterwards, the man says that only the empress has the right to wear clothes of the same color as him. The girl remains silent, realizing that they have a completely opposite culture. Suddenly, the girl noticed Leah, who was standing very close to her. Leah laughed at the girl, covering her face with a fan. Layla realized that she knew everything, but pretended not to understand anything. Layla realizes that it's not just Leah who's bad, but everyone else too. The girl understands that she must explain herself and asks for forgiveness for disrespecting the man. After all, in her kingdom, wearing clothes of the same color as the ruler is a sign of loyalty. But the man says she is not in her kingdom. The girl realizes that she has angered the prince, and everything is not going as she would like. After all, everything will sound like an excuse. No matter what Layla says, it won't help. Suddenly, the man asked if maybe someone had set her up. Sitting on the throne, he looks at the girl, who has clearly come to life. Louis asks if she's really going to say that's true. The girl didn't say anything, but suddenly remembered the morning conversation. Layla remembered talking to the Duke and how she had taken away their lands. Suddenly, the girl realizes that it was the Duke who chose her dress. And then I drove away the bad thoughts, because this couldn't be. The Duke couldn't have known about it either, because they simply didn't have time to find out everything immediately after arriving. No one in the Empire has ever pointed this out like this. The man asks what she will do. Will she really blame others to justify herself? The girl looks at the guy, realizing that he only wants Layla to blame everything on others, but she doesn't know what to do and how to act. With a heavy sigh, the girl realized that she had no way out, not a single one. Layla bowed, beginning to apologize, saying that it was her fault, because she had not studied the local traditions enough. After all, even if everything is dumped, Layla won't be let go so easily. Layla felt like it was some kind of test of strength. But the man was angry with the girl, and showed it with his whole appearance. Louis ordered the girl to leave because she was disgusting to him. Layla was horrified because she clearly didn't expect such a reaction, but she had no choice but to leave. The girl bowed again, showing respect for the emperor's decision. And the girls were happy because she had just entered and aroused the emperor's anger, which meant that she had no chance. And now the doors open. The girl comes out upset because she showed herself poorly, and this should not have happened. Suddenly, Alex runs up to the girl. He clearly didn't expect everything to turn out like this. But he sees that the girl is no less worried than he is. She literally has no face. After something like that, no one would have a face. And the girl who wanted to make a good impression, and not to anger the man, that's for sure. Alex asks why the girl didn't blame everything on him. Maybe she still wants to show him mercy. Layla denies this, saying that it is not so. They both just did not know about it, that's all. It happens to everyone, so it's okay. There is no need to worry. The man was surprised that the girl said that, because he was expecting her to confess, and the fact that she didn't turn him in already says a lot. She's changing for the better. Alex says that everything is right, because even if she had blamed everything on him, failure would still be failure, and it cannot be avoided. Layla understands that the Duke is right, because no matter how she justifies herself to the Emperor, it would not help to make a good impression on him. Now, Layla had to figure out how to fix everything, because something clearly needed to be done so that the Emperor would not only be angry with her, but would also smile at her. The man looked at the girl, who was completely upset. And now they are finally going to the palace where they are supposed to live. Arriving at the place, the man and woman get out of the carriage. Having seen the place, the girl was not very happy, because she did not think that she would stay in such a place. After all, the garden is in complete disarray, and it's also covered in snow. And there are icicles on the roof. How is that possible? It feels like it's not a palace, but just a house where a girl needs to live for a while. The girl is already beginning to doubt that this is really a palace, because palaces usually don't look like this, but completely different. The man says it is a palace, the Basel Palace. Each of the emperor's 13 wives receives a ring with a stone. They live in palaces named after stones. All these stones symbolize the months from January to December. The order of these stones determines their status among wives, so one must try to raise their status. Remembering the previous dialogue, where the man ordered the girl to leave, and as a hostage from an enemy country, who provoked the emperor's wrath on the very first day, Layla did not receive the stone. Basel is the 13th palace and symbolizes the foundation or ring without a stone. The girl couldn't stand it and started screaming that a ring without a stone was too much, but the man looked at the girl, not understanding anything. Having finished, the girl apologized because she lost her temper. The girl realizes that she was stupid to think that she could succeed in the empire, but now the emperor hates her, and so she starts from the lowest position. And the servants are also rude. Layla is definitely out of luck. Also, the future seems so bleak. The girl thinks that she is finished. While the man was telling the servants what to do, the girl was looking at the palace. Suddenly, the girl saw a painting that was hanging incorrectly. The girl realizes that no one has lived here for a long time. And the servants look so unenthusiastic. How awful! Layla understands that if this continues, she will not be able to become empress, and she will not be able to return home and will be exiled. Realizing that he is her future husband, the girl feels uneasy. After all, Layla wouldn't want such a husband for herself. The girl heard rumors about the cold-blooded emperor, but it was so scary that the girl almost died. The emperor's handsome face is not everything, but Layla does not understand how to befriend him. The girl is also afraid of death, which can come at any moment. But if Layla does not become empress, she will be exiled. The girl resigned herself to it, because it was not the first time that her superiors did not like her. After a major mistake at the hospital, the head nurse avoided the girl. She remembers that day well. But in any case, the girl must find a way to change everything, and as quickly as possible, and in her past life, at such moments, the girl dealt with things differently. The girl ate something sweet to calm down and come to her senses. It was a great mood lifter and clearer of thoughts, because sugar is really important. The girl understands that now she wants something sweet, and urgently. In the kingdom, Baked goods and tea with sugar began to become popular among the nobility. And in the empire, there are almost no sweets, and after eating, they prefer dried fruits or dessert wine, apparently a different culture. Suddenly, the girl noticed a picture that hung alone on the wall. She wanted to straighten it and wipe all the dust off it, but it was not her responsibility, because Layla came for something completely different. The painting depicted the palace where the girl now lives. In the summer, it looked beautiful, unlike what she sees now in the winter. Suddenly, Layla approached the servant, intending to ask her a question. The maid says that if the princess wants something from her, then she should wait, because she is busy now, but Layla understands that the girl is ignoring her. Although this is not surprising, because after all, Layla is the emperor's wife, but a foreigner who angered the emperor on the very first day and received the base ring. But Layla still insists, because she really wants to ask a question. Layla pointed to the painting, asking again if this was really the Basel Palace. The maid says yes, this is Basel Palace. Suddenly, the girl tells that the previous owner of the palace lived in this palace. She was from the south and grew flowers from her region right here. The girl was glad to hear this. It seemed she had something in mind. The maid says that they bloom only in summer, and now it is still winter. But without listening to the end, the girl ran out into the street. The maid could only watch her go, not understanding what was happening. The girl realized that since there were flowers there might be something else there. Holding the dress, the girl ran to look for the very place she came for. And so she was in place and began to drip. The girl understood that she was already close. All that was left was to drip a little. And so, Layla found what she had been looking for all this time. The girl found the plant she needed at the moment, and here it is in front of her. Getting up from her seat, the girl took and pulled the plant, but did not expect that there would be so much of it. There will be another harvest like this. Layla is clearly lucky. Suddenly, a man came running, asking what she was doing, especially in such cold weather. The man says that she has completely gone crazy, but the girl shows what she took out of the ground. Layla holds up a sweet potato, saying it's so real and probably very sweet. Alex looks at the plant, not understanding what is in front of him and what this sweet potato is that Layla ran out into the street for. The girl looked at the guy, realizing that they don't eat that, which is probably why Alex didn't know what was in front of him. The girl, unlike him, understood that these plants were here for decoration. Layla says that it is very sweet and delicious, and that she will cook Alex-baked sweet potato, but the man says that it is so ugly, he doesn't even believe that it is edible. Suddenly, it dawned on the girl what she wanted to do with the sweet potato. The girl met Rami and asked her how everything went. When the girl told everything, Layla realized that they had not managed to get the sugar. Rami says that sugar is too expensive, and the money the girl gave was not enough. Rami gave the purchases and added that there is no sugar in the store she went to. The girl was shocked, but accepted everything as it was. The princess doesn't understand whether it's because of her strange idea of money or something else, but it's simply impossible to understand the local prices. But since we managed to buy other ingredients, then, apparently, sugar is really highly valued, but this will also suffice. The girl thanks the maid and asks her to warm herself by the fireplace, because it is very cold outside. Layla says that she will cook something sweet. Rami was surprised that she would cook something, and even sweet. The princess smiles and says that she can take over the kitchen, which is very likely. Rami was surprised that the girl wanted to cook. Layla said that she had already chosen. Standing at the table, the girl stood with her back to the maids. One of them asks why Layla came to the kitchen, while the other says that she is a princess, even if she belongs to the Basel Palace. The maid says she was in shock when the girl went into the kitchen. They were cleaning in a panic, so much so that they almost started sweating. Rami says Layla made him buy eggs and milk. Suddenly, Layla turned to Rami, saying that she wanted to ask the girl something. Layla asks how the stove works. The girl says that all the equipment is already old, but it needs to be filled with magic. And to regulate the fire, you need to press the pedal. Layla says that it is amazing, a real magic stove. Layla says that she doesn't have magic and she needs help. Rami was surprised by this. She also asked how the girl lives without magic. Layla asked if it was weird, to which she replied that it was the first time she had seen someone unable to use magical devices. Rami understands that this is not a joke and that Layla is no good. Louis has the most powerful magic in the empire, so he would hardly choose such a useless person as empress. The girl smiles at the maid, waiting for her to help her. Rami went to the stove and began to remember how to turn it on, and Layla was ashamed. After pressing a special seal, the girl moves away from the stove. And the stove really did light up. The girl was so happy about it. The girl looks at it, compares it to a gas stove, and thanks Rami. Layla says that magic can do everything. Rami was surprised. How can you surprise anyone with magic these days? Rami says that it is worth admiring Louis's magic with his ice spells, or the magic of the healers with their healing. Layla says there are so many magics. Rami says the higher a person's noble status, the stronger his magic, and everyone knows this. Rami begins to doubt that this girl is from the royal family, since she doesn't know this. The royal without magic now understands why the girl was so despised. After washing the sweet potato, the girl put it on the table. And she began to cut the sweet potato into large pieces. And then into small ones, like stripes. Rami realizes that the girl can handle a knife without magic, and asks Layla about the yellow ingredient. The princess did not answer Rami, looking at the sweet potato. The girl realized that this was enough, and it was necessary to cut it into strips. The girl stood behind Rami, watching Layla, who was cooking. Layla decided to fry the sweet potatoes in hot oil. Rami says that such a delicious smell comes from the sweet potato. The girls in the back continued to watch. When the sweet potato has acquired an appetizing color, Layla shakes off the oil and places it on a plate. Suddenly, the girl turned to face those standing behind her, realizing that something was missing. The girl ran somewhere, telling them to wait for her and everything would be ready. Soon, Layla ran back into the kitchen with 2 pots in her hands, saying that it was so cold outside. Layla adds what was missing to this dish. And then he leaves, saying that everything is ready. The girls looked at the dish that Layla made. The girl introduces the dish to the girls, saying that it is fried sweet potato with ice cream. Although there is no sugar, the sweet potato itself is quite sweet. The white one is milk ice cream, and the yellow one contains sweet potato, so it is even sweeter. The snow outside became a natural freezer, Layla says. Rami asked how to eat it, because they didn't know at all, and it was the first time they had seen this dish. Layla said that she would show them now. The girl tells them to take the sweet potato in their hands. And then they dip it in ice cream. And then the girl would have some sweet potatoes and ice cream while the maids watched her. Layla says it's very tasty and shows it with her appearance. So the sweet potato turned out to be even sweeter than Layla imagined, and the sugar was not needed. The hot sweet potato and cold ice cream create a wonderful temperature contrast, and the girl says she can eat as much of it as she wants. The girls looked with interest at what Layla had prepared. Layla suggested that the girls try it and held out the plate to them. Rami, being the bravest, took the sweet potato in her hands and took some ice cream on it. Tries what Layla has prepared, not expecting much from the dish. But suddenly the girl realized that it was very tasty. Rami screamed, showing with her whole appearance that it was very tasty, and the maids who stood behind her were frightened. Rami says it's so delicious there are no words. The girl doesn't understand how it can be so sweet and hot. Layla says it's great. The girl says that the sweet potato is so sweet and delicious, and Rami agrees with her because it is. Rami says that she has never tasted anything so delicious in her life, and this white ice is so delicious. Rami says, the maid is ready to eat it every day, no matter what. The girls looked at what Layla had prepared, and Rami stood next to her, eating what she had prepared. Layla says sweet potatoes contain vitamin C, which is retained even when heated due to the proteins, so it is good for the skin, and the fiber helps with digestion. While the girl was telling us that it was good for both health and beauty, the girls tried sweet potatoes with ice cream. And the second one also joined in and began to try what Layla had prepared. The girls say it's very tasty. Layla understands that everyone eats with pleasure. Before, sweets were just a reward for the girl. But now, the girl is so happy that the girls like the food. Suddenly, Alex approached the girls. Layla approached the guy and asked if he wanted to try what was prepared. Suddenly, the man sighed heavily. And he looked at the girl, saying that she probably forgot something, which caused the emperor's anger, because of which she was exiled to this palace. The girl says that she hasn't forgotten about it, but it's possible to be in a good mood a little. And then Alex and Layla sighed heavily, because how could you forget about something like that? Layla realizes that she must first try to mend fences with the Emperor. But remembering the way the guy looked at her today, the girl doesn't understand one thing. How can she resist such a person? And if she doesn't become a concubine, she will be kicked out, and then, being unable to use even magical devices, she may die right on the street. Suddenly, the girl noticed the sweet potato, which she had not touched. And then he looks at the girls eating sweet potatoes with ice cream, and they're not just eating, they're enjoying it. The girl took the sweet potato and slammed it on the table, knowing what to do. The girl realized that she would take the sweet potato and head towards the guy. The man asks what this means, because now he doesn't understand anything at all. And then the girl came up to him and gathered her courage to tell Alex about her plan. Layla says she's going to Lewis, which will actually be an apology plan. The girl thinks that the man is so harsh only because he simply lacks sugar, so Layla wants to give him a light snack that he can eat while working and at the same time apologize to him. Alex asks if it will work. The girl says it should work. Layla realizes that there are no sweet snacks in this country. Also, dried fruits are usually served with tea here, and desserts here are limited to sweet wine, and sweets are rare here, Layla notes. And here, if Layla, like an empress, suddenly appears with a rare dessert, then she will be loved immediately. The girl is absolutely sure of this, 100%. The girl understands that her rating will clearly skyrocket, and this will definitely work. Suddenly, Layla asks Rami if there is a steamer here, and Rami asks what it is. The girl realized that they apparently don't cook with steam here, and that's why she doesn't know what a steamer is. The princess realized that this dessert would definitely be suitable, but Rami realized that Layla was at it again. To begin with, Layla took a large frying pan, turned the soup bowl inside out to create a raised surface and place a flat plate on top. And then pour in some water. And now, Layla shows that the cooking is ready, but the main thing is that the water does not touch the ingredients, and the cooking is done by steam. Alex and Rami looked at each other, not understanding what was going on and how she would cook something. And so, Layla began to cook. First, she made the dough. And then I started cutting the sweet potato into cubes for a snack. And so, after some time, everything was ready. Opening the pan, Layla realized that everything had worked out and she could try it. Layla called them sweet potato buns. And then he says that thanks to the sweet potato, they will be sweet even without sugar. The Duke and Rami took one each. Alex still didn't understand what it was, but the maid clearly liked it. Rami says the buns are so soft, the girl couldn't wait to try them. After trying a small piece, Layla waited to see what Rami would say about the taste. And from Rami's reaction, you can already understand that she liked it. She asks what kind of dish it is, because she has never tried anything like it, and the girls behind the servant are surprised. Layla tells them not to be shy and to try the sweet potato buns and eat them to their heart's content, because there are so many of them. The girls tried it, saying it was very tasty, and Layla looked at Alex, waiting for him to try it too. The Duke broke off a small piece for himself, intending to try it. And so, the man finally tries the sweet potato buns. Layla was very worried because he might not like it. Alex stood with his back to the girl's face. Layla thought that the guy didn't like it. Alex says it's so delicious that he even turns away from the girl. Layla was very happy about this news. The girl realized that even if the Duke says it's delicious, it means everything will work out. And so, Alex and Layla were there. The girl was holding a basket of food in her hands, and Alex was walking next to her. Suddenly, the girl saw the line that had formed towards the Emperor. It's not just a queue, it's a really long one. But then the girl and the man walked on, thinking that they would be let in. But suddenly, the knights forbade them to go further. The man asks them to wait in line, but Layla decides to ask if even the Empress must wait in line. Suddenly, Layla says that she submitted a written request explaining the reason. He says that Lewis is very busy, and everyone here has also gone through the official procedure and is waiting for their turn. The girl compared this line with the one that was usually in the hospital after registration, and obediently went back. The girl noticed that this line stretched not to the throne room, but to the study. Alex says that Lewis, despite being busy, always prefers to sort through reports personally, which is why the line is so long. The girl says it's commendable that Louis works so hard, but she begins to worry that the man might collapse from exhaustion. The girl understands how many cases there have been when doctors have fallen from exhaustion. Suddenly, a man stopped the girl, deciding to ask her something. Alex says that even after such an appeal to herself, she still continues to worry about the man. Remembering that dialogue where the man ordered the girl to leave and also called her disgusting. The girl was interested in why he remembered this. But Layla says that it was a shame, but she couldn't wish for Louis to die because of it. Alex was surprised that the girl answered like that, because it was very strange for someone like her. The man understands that he is in deep trouble, but Layla does not understand what this guy is. Suddenly, the man standing next to the knights says for the next one to come in. Layla realized that the closer they were to the office, the heavier the atmosphere, and everyone was so nervous. But considering who's inside, it's not even surprising. But Layla is also scared, just like everyone else standing in line. But suddenly, the girl heard a loud sound outside the door, as did everyone else who was standing in line. The girl was surprised by this, because it happened so unexpectedly. And Layla immediately ran towards the sound to understand what had happened. Suddenly, the girl was stopped by a man who was standing at the door. The man says that you can't enter without permission, whatever the reason. The girl apologizes, saying that it was automatic. After all, when she heard a loud noise in the hospital, she immediately ran to check on the patients. But the man didn't understand anything. Suddenly, the doors opened. The knights, the man and the girl looked at the source of the noise. The man was leaving the office and clearly wanted to ask for forgiveness. The man asks Louis to calm down, and Layla is also looking out. Suddenly, ice was hovering above the man's head. The emperor was clearly angry with the man and could not calm down. Seeing what was happening in the office, the girl thought it was magic. Louis looked at the man who asked him to calm down. The emperor says, how can he be calm when such an incompetent man like him is not able to carry out even one order? Suddenly, the man waved his hand. The ice disappeared, but Louis's anger did not go away. The emperor says that if this were the opposition, he would have ordered them to be completely destroyed long ago. The man fell to the floor in fear. Layla looked at Louis, and he looked at the man who was in front of him. Layla understands that the man is now much angrier than at their last meeting. The man tries to tell Louis that Eric's son is just a child, only 8 years old, adding that his execution would be too cruel. Louis says that if left alone, he could become the seed of a future rebellion. He says that they can send him to a monastery. When he leaves worldly cares, he will be grateful to Louis' mercy, and will never think of rebellion. The emperor says that he is too soft. The emperor says that he may want to avenge his parents at any moment. Louis says that he already has many enemies. It is best to eliminate the possible threat in advance. He continues. The girl is too scared by these conversations, because he is ready to kill an 8-year-old child. Looking at him, the girl understands that he truly deserves the title of Cold Emperor. Everything would have been fine, but Louis noticed the girl and was angry. The girl realized that he had noticed her. She tried to smile at him to soften her position. The man asks what she is doing there and orders her to leave. The doors closed before the girl's eyes, and the man said that the audience was over for today. The girl sighed heavily because she had received a reprimand again. The girl realizes that her sweet potato buns are useless. Alex agreed with the girl. And then he says that they will return peacefully to the palace where they now live. Looking out the window, Layla saw such a beautiful view. The girl decided to take a little walk in the garden before returning. The man asked the girl what she was planning because she didn't just want to go for a walk. The girl says that she is not up to anything, and why does he always think badly of her if she just wants to unwind? The man asked the girl not to get lost. The girl said that everything would be fine and that she shouldn't worry. Layla understands that it is rare to see such huge gardens in Japan, and there are not many flowers, but no matter how you look at it, it is still a palace. While looking at the garden, she saw many things, for example, a statue of a deer. And then I saw the fountain. The girl walked further, strolling through the garden. But suddenly I realized that I had gone too far. Further than I planned, but I continued to move on. Having seen these flowers, the girl could not leave because they were very beautiful. Walking further, the girl sees such beauty that she has never seen before. This garden has everything your heart desires. But suddenly, she saw something she didn't expect to see in this garden. It was strawberries, and Layla was very happy to see it here. And there are even orange trees in the greenhouse, which surprises the girl even more. The girl thought that these were ornamental plants, because even sweet potato flowers were used as ornamental there. Layla thinks that in this world many ingredients are not yet perceived as food. Suddenly, a man approached the girl, asking what she was doing there. The girl turned around and saw a man standing next to her. She didn't expect anyone else to be here at all. The princess apologized because she had wandered in there completely by accident. Layla asks if he is the one who manages this garden. The man answers yes, that is true. The gardener asks the girl what she is doing here. The girl immediately lights up. The princess asks the man if he can share his strawberries, but he doesn't understand. The girl realized that here she was not called a strawberry, so she pointed her finger, saying that she wanted that red berry. The gardener still doesn't understand what's happening, while the girl looks at the basket. Seeing how many strawberries the man had collected, the girl was surprised. The man says that it is trash and should be thrown in the trash. Layla says that it is not trash, but a tasty berry. The guy was surprised that the girl was eating this. Layla once again realized that he definitely didn't eat this. The gardener said that he didn't mind sharing it with the girl, but she asked why she needed it. The girl understands that she is the lowest wife, but it seems that everyone knows her. Layla does not deny the fact that she may be known from another side. Suddenly, Layla wanted to ask the guy something. The man asks what she wants. The girl hands the man sweet potato buns as a token of gratitude. The man asks what it is. Layla says that it is steamed buns. They are sweet and soft, which she offers to try. Suddenly, the man looked at the girl. The man says that people say about the girl that she is a real villain, but as it turns out, Layla is just weird. Hearing this, the girl says that this is not true at all. After all, she was simply delighted to see such a beautiful strawberry. Suddenly, the girl turned her back to the man. They say that the garden is so beautiful that it takes your breath away. Suddenly, Layla decided to ask, "And the man himself takes care of the garden," he says. "Yes, himself." The girl approached the man, saying that it was wonderful. The other gardens are so beautiful, but this one seems the most comfortable to her. Suddenly, the girl said that she would go already and thank the man for the strawberries, and if she cooked something, she would definitely share it with the man, and he asked if she cooked. Layla says she makes desserts, but it would be much better with sugar. The girl says that it is so difficult to get sugar in this country. The gardener says that it is natural that they have no sugar, but the girl looked at the guy, listening to him. He says that products like sugar, which have to be imported from the southern countries, are monopolized by the Greyjoy kingdom, imposing huge duties. Suddenly, the girl began to worry. The girl had always wondered why there were so few sweets here, but it turned out that the kingdom of Greyjoy had monopolized the sugar trade, making sea trade its basis. For the Tallish imperial court, the mention of sugar is a mockery, since it was over this that the war began. The girl bowed and immediately began to ask for forgiveness, because she had not thought at all and had no intention of speaking badly about their country. The man turned away from the girl and asked her to leave quickly. The girl sighed heavily and got ready to leave. The man continued to stand with his back to the girl. She left with shame, because she didn't want to offend the guy. Turning to the guy, who was standing with his back turned, the girl thanks him for the strawberries. He doesn't say anything, and the girl walks away. The gardener never looked in the girl's direction. The man began to take off his hat, and then he took off his glasses. It turned out it was Louis who thought she was weird, and he threw away the basket of buns that the girl had brought. He didn't even eat them because he was angry at Layla. Arriving at the palace, the girl sees that it has started snowing again, and it is still terribly cold. Layla sighs heavily. The girl remembered their previous dialogue, which never took place. Layla saw how strong Louis was. The man asked her to leave, just like he did that time in front of his wives, but the plan to apologize failed. However, it is impossible to obtain sugar in this country. The girl realized this when the gardener told her everything. The princess realizes that she has learned important information. that in this country it is impossible to get sugar, raw materials, sugarcane. It is an imported commodity, monopolized by an enemy country. And money won't help here at all. Suddenly, the girl looked at the tree she was standing next to. Taking the stone, the girl thought that it would be good if it were possible to find a replacement for sugar. It would be such a benefit to the empire, Layla thought. The girl understood that she would never give up. Entering the palace, the girl says that she has returned. Shaking off the snow, the girl says that it is so cold outside. Suddenly, the girl heard her name. She is met by Alex himself, who was so cold to her. The girl asks if he has been waiting for her all this time. Alex says no, that's not true. The man was about to go outside, but suddenly it started snowing. Having bowed, the man greets the girl. She giggled because she liked that the man met her. The girl thanks Alex, saying that she is home. Layla undressed, went into the hall, and sat down by the fireplace. Warming her hands because of the cold, the girl felt very good. Suddenly, Alex says that it's starting to get dark and he needs to turn on the light. The man came up and turned on the light, turning on the light so that the girl would not be afraid of the dark. Layla cannot use magical utensils. The girl looks at her hand, realizing that it can't even turn on the light. One day, Stella said that she would teach Layla a lesson and locked her in a dark room. Shaking her head, the girl drives away the memory, because it's not even hers. Now that a new life has begun in a neighboring country, Layla can change everything. Suddenly, someone came to the girl's maid and asked if she wanted a warming drink. Layla was delighted, saying that she would be happy to try the drink that the maids had made. The girl put the drink on the table, saying that it was mulled wine with raisins. But here the tea is also imported, so it is replaced with warmed wine. It is very tasty for Layla. It also helps to warm up, but the girl wants something sweet. But you can't complain if a person tried so hard. They say that even a debt can be returned with a word. So you always have to watch your language, otherwise you'll get into trouble later. But suddenly, the girl noticed Rami in front of her, who was looking at her. Layla asks if there might be something wrong with her face. Rami says no, everything is fine. Rami says that she thought about how clear Layla's skin was, and the girl was surprised by it. The girl asked Rami what the pimple on her face was, while the maid looked at the girl. Rami agrees, but she says that asking for help from a healer is too expensive. She says to heal the skin. Layla says not to touch her face. After all, if a girl touches her face, it will fester and leave a scar, so she must be careful. The girl wonders what else she can come up with, but she has already explained that sweet potatoes are rich in vitamins, so they need to be eaten more often. The girl says that she will now cook something sweet, for example buns, but then she realized that she wants something new. The girl says that she will lend the kitchen because she wants to cook something. Rami realized that she would go and cook again and take over the kitchen. The man stood in the kitchen, watching Layla, who was cooking once again. Rami stood next to Layla, waiting for the kitchen to become free again, and in a couple of minutes, everything was ready. Layla says that all that remains is to put everything on plates, and now everything is ready. The girl made strawberry ice cream, and it looked so beautiful. Rami was scared, because these were the very berries that the noblewoman loved so much. The maid thought that she had stolen them, but Layla said that she had simply received the berries from the gardener. After all, if you boil milk, you can make low-calorie condensed milk even without sugar. We add it inside with hollowed-out strawberries. And then we freeze it outside, and now we have strawberry ice cream with condensed milk. It is pleasantly sour, sweet, and rich in vitamin C, which helps with acne. The girl was surprised by this. Layla says that everyone should try it. Rami tries it first, thanking her in advance for the treat. And then the girls came to the table, trying the treat that Layla had made. Rami was shocked at how delicious it was. The maid says that the treat is so sour, crunchy, and then there is milk inside, and it literally melts in your mouth. The girl didn't think that strawberries could be so sweet. Layla is very glad that the girl liked it. Suddenly, a man called the girl while she was standing with her back turned. The man approached the girl and handed her an envelope. He also said that this was an invitation. Layla was shocked by this. After all, she received an invitation, and clearly for a reason. But Layla doesn't understand where this invitation is for, and most importantly, from whom. The man says it's an invitation to a monthly dinner party, an event attended by Louis and all 13 wives. The girl was surprised that all the wives would be there. The girl understands that this is a great opportunity to stand out. Alex says that it is. It is based on the results of this event that the future empress will be determined. But the girl remembers past dialogues with the man, which were not successful. The girl hopes that she will be able to do this. And while there is still time to fix everything, the girl will take advantage of this moment. The girl understands that in this case, she needs to use all the strawberries. If they are loved as an ornamental plant, then perhaps it will cause a positive reaction from the emperor and the other wives. But the strawberries that the girl brought had defects, so they couldn't be used in that condition. Layla looks at the strawberries, realizing that she has to do something with the strawberries. And so, before going to the event, the girl's corset is tightened, which is painful for the girl, but bearable. Rami asks if everything is okay, because he can see how hard it is for Layla. The girl says that everything is bad. Layla feels like she is dying. Rami says that he is not asking about this, but about the invitation. Layla realized that she was mistaken and told something completely different from what the maid needed. Layla looks at the maple syrup she made. The girl realizes that she has a plan, and she will go with the maple syrup because it might come in handy. Rami says she didn't even know maple sap could be so sweet. Layla corrects the girl, saying that it is not just a maple, it is a sugar maple. If you make a cut on the tree and collect the sap in a container, and then evaporate it and filter it. As a result, we get maple syrup, which everyone loves so much. Beautiful, yet very sweet, which will definitely please everyone. Importing sugarcane is what the girl has at the moment. After all, the raw materials for sugar are monopolized by the Kingdom of Gragery, where the girl is not currently located. Because of the incredibly high duties that were imposed, the empire cannot purchase it. And it's not just about price. The two countries were fighting over territory off the coast, so their conflict goes much deeper. If the empire had an alternative to sugar, it could be sold at a high price, which would improve the economy, and sugar would lose its value, and the empire would be able to take over the Greyjoy kingdom. Luckily, there are plenty of maple trees in Tully, and if Layla can properly present this syrup to the emperor tonight, it can be mass-produced. Layla even prepared a dessert to present it better, and this time the girl will definitely succeed. At least that's what Layla hopes. And so, the girl left the room to go to the man. She looked very beautiful and walked confidently towards Alex. The Duke holds a basket in his hands, saying that everything is ready. The girl thanked the man. Rima saw the basket and asked if this was what she had prepared in the kitchen yesterday. Layla agrees with Rami, saying that she asked for it to be served for dessert at today's meeting. Suddenly, the girl takes hold of the fabric and puts it away, saying that with the help of what is in the basket, she wants to represent maple syrup. The girl removed the cloth, showing Rami and the servants that there were macaroons in the basket. Rami looked into the basket, asking what macaroons were. Layla says that turning the syrup into powder was not easy, but she evaporated the moisture so that it took the form of sugar, and of course baked what Rami sees before him. Syrup and strawberry flavor, even slightly spoiled berries can be processed into cream. Also, vitamins from strawberries are good for the skin, so other wives will be delighted, says Layla confidently. Rami says that after Layla gave her strawberries, her skin improved noticeably and her acne completely disappeared. Layla was so happy that she was able to help Rami, but the girl doubts that it was just the strawberries that helped, because everything couldn't have gone so quickly. Layla noticed the girl looking at the macarons she had made yesterday and decided to ask if she wanted to try some. Rami was so happy about this because Layla allowed her to try such a sweet thing as macaroons. Layla smiled at Rami, seeing that she was no longer hiding her curiosity and was happily asking for what the girl had prepared. And the girl took one macaron in her hands and began tasting it, as she had been doing since the very moment Layla arrived at the palace. Rami literally cries from how delicious it is, basically, as always. The girl approached Layla, saying that she had never eaten sweets, and asked if there was definitely no sugar in it. Layla says it's maple syrup. It's sweet, but lower in calories than sugar and rich in minerals. The girl ate pasta, saying that she didn't know what minerals were, but thought it was terribly delicious. Suddenly, Layla approached Alex, asking if the man would like to try the macarons she had spent so long making. The man looks at the so-called macaroons that the girl made. Layla looks at him, thinking that the guy doesn't like this dessert that the girl made. And so, the man bit into the macaroon, trying it for the first time. The girl was very worried, because from the guy's face, which always expresses nothing, it is difficult to understand whether the person likes it or not. Suddenly, the man starts talking to the girl and speaks as if something bad had happened. Layla listens attentively and does not understand anything. Alex says that, to be honest, the man did not think and did not even believe that the girl could become empress. Layla is shocked because he says everything so directly that she feels uneasy, but she doesn't interrupt and continues to listen. The man says that the girl is arrogant, lacking compassion, and making no effort. In a word, a villain, and also because she was expelled from the kingdom and forced to marry a cold emperor. But that's not all. Alex continues to say that when he was ordered to become her servant, he thought that life was over. Layla listens and understands that this is like a knife to the heart, but again she remains silent in order to understand what the guy wants to say in the end. But Layla realizes that the former girlfriend is truly bad, even resorting to coercion to confiscate Alex's family lands. And then the man pauses, getting ready to say something to Layla, and this makes her nervous, because she doesn't know what the guy wants to tell her and is very worried. Alex says, looking at how the girl is trying to marry the prince. And she does a lot for this. She even started cooking to please Louis, and so that he would forgive her. Alex has a new hope that things can somehow get better, a hope that Alex believes in. The girl listened to Alex and was pleasantly surprised that the man believed in her, because she tried so hard for this, and of course she has not yet been able to earn Louis's forgiveness. But she received forgiveness from Alex, which was also important to her. Alex smiled at the girl, realizing that he had said what he wanted to say, and then he said that the sweets were delicious, and he said it as if it wasn't him who said that she had become better. And Layla was so glad that the guy liked what she cooked, because Layla really needed to listen to the man's opinion, which was so important to her at that moment. And suddenly, Alex spoils this atmosphere, saying that if the girl had corrected herself a little earlier, it would have been even better. The girl smiled nervously, noting that what kind of man can be ruthless? But at least this way, then nothing at all, Layla thinks, because everything could have been much worse than now. And so, the girl finally came to the palace to Louis, and was terribly worried, because she really wanted everything to go well, without any quarrels and scandals, in other words, ideally. And so, Alex walks next to Layla, who says that she is very worried, because she wants everything to go well, and for everyone to like her macarons, which she tried so hard to make. But suddenly, Alex says that Layla was so confident. How could she not be ready for this evening? The girl agrees with the Duke, because she prepared everything perfectly, but still scared. But Layla asked for macaroons for dessert, and the girl even carefully rehearsed the presentation of maple syrup, which she made herself and carries with her just in case. Just in case. The girl holds maple syrup in her hands, hoping that everything will go well, that nothing will stop her this time. Alex can't go any further and says that he will wait for the girl outside the door and wishes her luck because he is worried that everything might not go the way they want. As soon as the girl entered, she saw many beautiful women. They were the same wives as Layla herself. They were still having such a sweet conversation with each other. The girl couldn't believe that they could be enemies, because they communicated with each other as if they were sisters. But suddenly, the girl caught the attention of Leah, the girl who framed Layla, which caused Layla to become angry with Louis. As soon as Layla came in, everyone started whispering, not about anyone else, but specifically about Layla, who hadn't done anything bad to them. But rivalry is rivalry. Nothing can be done about it, and it all started because of Leah. The 13 imperial consorts symbolize the months from January to December, and each receives a palace named after her symbolic stone. This means that all the spouses present at the dinner are of a higher rank than Layla, the mistress of the Basel Palace. Suddenly, Leah gets up from her seat, causing Layla to have a lot of questions that no one will answer. Suddenly, Leah says that she thought that her wife from the Basel Palace would not come, but this was more of a mockery of Layla than concern for her. Layla recognized Leah because she was the one who set Leah up at their first meeting, and the girl didn't expect that because she looked so sweet, but in the end she betrayed her. Suddenly, Layla says that she hopes for favor today because she would like to make a good impression, and not like last time. Leah laughed with Layla, saying that she had the nerve to come here. The girl showed with her whole appearance that she was not happy to see her. In fact, you could say that she was not happy to see anyone here, but was happy only for herself. Layla sighed heavily, pretending that she didn't understand anything at all, although in fact she understood everything and saw how Leah was behaving. Suddenly, Layla saw a girl who was clearly unwell. She was so pale and didn't even raise her gaze, clearly thinking about her own things. But that doesn't mean that they were far from good. Suddenly, the girl feels like she is getting sick. She literally cannot control herself, which Layla also notices, looking at her. And then the girl suddenly gets up from her seat, showing with her whole appearance that she feels very bad and needs to leave dinner quickly. Layla notices this and begins to worry about the girl who left the dinner without waiting for the man for whom they all gathered. Layla immediately realized that the girl had Hippocrates, and she was so pale, it looked like she had anemia. Suddenly, Jenny stood up from her seat. Layla realizes that she must help Jenny, who became ill. The Duke saw that Layla had left dinner early, and Alex realized that something was wrong. Alex approached Layla, asking what happened to her, since dinner was about to start. The man tries to stop Layla. Dinner is very important for Alex and Layla. Layla shows Jenny, saying that she feels bad. And then, right before Layla's eyes, Jenny faints. Layla realized that Jenny urgently needed help and was about to run to her. But suddenly, Alex grabbed Layla by the hand, trying to stop her. Alex asks what Layla is going to do if the dinner party is about to start. Layla understands that Alex is right, because she came with a specific purpose. But the girl's life is important. We need to help her. Layla broke free from Alex's grip and ran to the girl to provide her with first aid. Alex approached Layla, who was sitting next to the girl's body, trying to help her. Alex says that the healers should take care of the assistants. Layla asks him to call the healer as soon as possible, while she stays with the girl. The Duke understood what was required of him and ran for the healer. Layla thanked Alex and asked him to hurry. Layla realizes that she needs to check the girl's consciousness first and asks her if she can hear. There was no answer. Layla asked if the girl was okay. Layla understands that her chest is moving, which means she is breathing, but she does not respond to her husband's call. Suddenly, Layla pinched the girl on the arm. Suddenly, a reaction followed. Layla sees that the girl opens her eyes in response to stimulation and tries to move away. Layla realizes that the girl opens her eyes after repeated stimulation. Looking at the girl lying in front of her, Layla thinks that the sudden fainting could be caused by a brain disorder or a seizure. But suddenly, Layla noticed the girl's nails. Layla realized that it might be hypoglycemia. Suddenly, Layla pulled out maple syrup from her dress pocket, realizing that it should help. After all, when blood sugar levels drop, the level of consciousness can also decrease. Most often this is observed in patients with diabetes, but also occurs with strict diets or eating disorders. Layla gives the girl maple syrup to drink, because consuming sugar can increase blood glucose levels, and judging by the signs of anemia, Layla understands that the girl was on a diet. Suddenly, the girl woke up, not understanding what was happening. Layla breathed a sigh of relief, because it really was hypoglycemia. Layla helps the girl sit up, and then says that she fainted and asks how she feels. Her wife replies that she is much better. Suddenly, the girl asks Layla if she is a healer. Layla denies it, saying that she is one of the imperial consorts. Suddenly, the girl remembered about the dinner party. She asks Layla if it has started. Layla says that the girl needs to rest a little. Sitting down, Layla explains that consciousness has returned, but her body has not yet recovered, so she needs to rest. The emperor's wife says that the palace of lapis lazuli was given to her, telling Layla that she was defeated in the struggle for the title of empress, and her father also wrote a letter in which he expressed his great disappointment. The girl wanted to become more beautiful so much that she even stopped eating normally. Layla understands why the girl is so worried, because the Lazarite Palace is the 12th in seniority. Layla is actually from the 13th oldest palace in Basel. After all, out of the 13 imperial wives, only one will become empress, and if Layla does not become empress, she will eventually be kicked out. Layla even prepared dessert for the dinner party to try to change the situation. Suddenly, the girl asked what the name of her savior was. But before that, The girl introduced herself as Jenny Garth. Layla introduced herself, and Jenny was surprised as soon as she heard her name. Jenny says that she heard that the imperial consort of the Kingdom of Greyjoy was a terrible villain, so she thought it was someone else. Layla smiled, asking that her bad reputation simply knows no bounds. Jenny says that today she realized that all these rumors are lies. Layla understands that, although she could not change her fate. But at least she was able to help Jenny. Suddenly, a man approaches Layla and Jenny, asking who the patient is, followed by Alex. The girls looked up to see a man asking about the patient. Layla stood up from her seat, asking if he was a healer. Layla wanted to introduce herself, but the man didn't let her do this, asking where the patient was because he had little time. Layla was surprised by such impudence, but said nothing about it. The girl approached Jenny, saying that she was a patient who had passed out and was showing symptoms of hypoglycemia, and after she gave her sugar, Jenny felt better. Suddenly, the man asked if she was a healer. Layla denies, saying that she does not possess magic. The healer asks if it's nothing serious. Layla was surprised by this attitude towards the patient, and reminds that Jenny lost consciousness due to hypoglycemia, and the healer is about to leave. Suddenly, the man stopped, asking that she had recovered, even without healing magic, and then the healer said that the healers were very busy, and there was no need to call them for such trifles. Layla didn't even know what to say. She was speechless from shock. Layla wonders if healers aren't supposed to be something like doctors, but Layla doesn't know how different this world's medicine is from Japan's. Even if they're busy, they can't behave like that. And so, the dinner party began, but the emperor sat dissatisfied. It seems like the table is beautifully decorated, the food is served, everything is delicious. And girls like everything. Only one emperor is dissatisfied, who doesn't even look at the food. Louis sees that not all the imperial spouses are present at the dinner. The emperor sees that 2 wives are missing, who should be at the dinner. Suddenly, Leah asked Louis if he really meant the spouses from the palaces of Lazarite and Basel. Leah says they apparently decided that their presence at the dinner party was pointless. The man doesn't respond to this, but ignores it. Suddenly, a man came in, saying that he brought dessert. These were macaroons that Layla made, but was unable to present to the emperor and his spouses. The girls were surprised, asking what it was and who prepared it, and one of the wives even asked if it was edible. Louis says that he won't try something that was prepared by someone unknown. The emperor told the man to remove the dessert, and he obeyed. The morning at Basel Palace is not going well. Alex sighs heavily, because he understands why this happened. The maid is silent, watching Layla, seeing how bad she is. Layla is upset because she tried so hard to prepare for this dinner, but no one even tried. They even sent the macaroons back. Layla sighed heavily, because she didn't even have time to tell about the maple syrup, but Alex says that the girl was never able to attend this important dinner party. Layla understands that nothing can be done about it. Layla simply couldn't leave Jenny without help, because she lost consciousness, but it's good that Layla was able to provide the necessary assistance. Alex says he is surprised because he thought Layla was a selfish person. The girl didn't say anything, but smiled. Realizing that if the girl had been the same Layla, then perhaps everything would have been like that. Layla sighs heavily, saying that it can't be helped because the dinner party is still going on, and Layla still has maple syrup, so Layla will take advantage of the next opportunity. The period when maple syrup can be collected is very short. Layla collected enough to last for a year. But even if Layla's presentation is successful, the next syrup harvest will only be possible next winter. During this time, Layla needs to think about other options. If Layla had sugar beets, everything would be much easier. But the girl does have honey, but it's extremely rare, most likely because there are no beekeeping technologies here. Suddenly, Rami comes up to Layla and asks if it was Layla who named the sweets that way. The maid says she's sorry she couldn't try it. Layla realizes the girl is talking about macaroons. Layla says there's still a lot of pasta left, so we can share it with everyone. As soon as the maid heard about this, she immediately took the baskets and left. In order not to be too sad in her palace, Layla went into the garden. Suddenly, the girl saw a familiar back. It was the gardener, who stood with his back to the girl, going about his business. The man asks what brought the girl to the garden. Layla says that she brought sweets to treat, but not just like that. but for the strawberries that the gardener shared. The man asked again about the sweets, because he couldn't believe his ears. The gardener turned away, saying that he would not accept. The girl sighed heavily and remembered their previous dialogue, which had not been successful. That day, the gardener told the girl about the sugar problems. And that same day, he drove the girl out of the garden. Taking one macaron in her hands, Layla smiled, saying that there was no poison in it. When Layla said that the macarons were tasty and sweet, the gardener turned his attention to the girl. Layla was smiling as she ate the macaroni she had made herself, and the gardener looked at the girl eating the sweets. Suddenly, the gardener remembered that Layla had just said that she made these sweets from strawberries. The gardener remembered the strawberries he wanted to throw away, but gave them to Layla. Looking at the sweets that Layla was holding out, the gardener said nothing. He simply silently took the basket of sweets. Suddenly, the gardener says that he heard that Layla was unable to come to dinner. Layla asked if the rumors had reached him too, and the gardener agreed. Layla says that she feels awkward because she prepared so many sweets, but everything went wrong. Layla realizes that if she tells the reason, she could set Jenny up. Layla would not like this, so she understands that she needs to remain silent, because for a wife, the important duty is to give birth to an heir. If rumors spread that Jenny is in poor health, then it will be bad. But Layla is not discouraged, because there will still be a chance to show herself in all her glory. Suddenly, Layla tells the gardener that she doesn't know his name. The man asks why she needs the name of an ordinary gardener. Layla says that he is a benefactor to her, adding that she cannot call him a gardener forever. The man sighed heavily and introduced himself as Alan. The girl extended her hand, saying that she was glad to meet him. Domin looked at the girl's hand, but did not shake it. Instead, the man leaves Layla, saying that he has no intention of getting close to the people of the Gradery Kingdom. Layla sighed heavily, because the same villain was from an enemy country. But Layla is not discouraged, saying that she will come again. In the meantime, the girl leaves, because all Layla wanted to do was bring Alan some sweets. After waiting for the girl to leave, the man takes off his hat. Louis was glad that Layla had left, because he needed to understand something. Taking out one of the macaroons that Layla had brought from the basket. As Louis looked at the macarons, he realized something. These were those very sweets. Sweets Louis didn't try that day. Looking at the sweetness, Lee decided he had to try it. At his own risk, Louis will try the macaroons that the girl brought. Louis liked the sweetness that the girl brought, but he did not understand what she added, because it did not look like sugar. Louis thought that this dessert had a special taste. Louis can't understand what it is, because Layla has prepared such exquisite sweets, but Louis also doesn't understand why Layla didn't come to the dinner party. Louis would have kept eating this sweet treat. Only there was only one left, because Louis ate everything. Suddenly, Louis remembered Layla, who had prepared these sweets. Louis promises himself that the next time he sees the girl, he will definitely find out the reason for her absence. This time, Layla came to the garden not alone, but with Alex. Layla noticed that the daisies were already blooming. Alex says he thought Layla was only interested in fruits, and asks if Layla would eat flowers, but Layla says that was rude because she can admire flowers. Alex reminds Layla that she collected sap from every tree she saw. The Duke adds that Layla even ate the decorative fruits. Layla says that it was an edible fruit, so she ate it. Suddenly, Alex noticed the garden they had come to. The Duke says that the garden is very beautiful. Layla agrees, saying that it is one of her favorite places. Suddenly, Layla noticed the people for whom she came to the garden today. Jenny was with some man, obviously telling him something interesting. Layla waves to Jenny, asking how long they have been waiting. Jenny was glad to see Layla and walked up to Alex and Layla. After bowing, Jenny greeted Layla and Alex. Layla thanked Jenny for deciding to meet her. Jenny says that she didn't even know about such a beautiful place. Jenny is grateful to Layla, who showed such a wonderful place. Layla continues to communicate with Jenny after the dinner party. Even today, she suggested meeting outside since the weather has become warmer. Layla seems to like Jenny very much in the garden, and this pleases Layla. She assumes that because she is from the Lazarite Palace, the other spouses refuse her invitations. Jenny is very pleased that she can communicate with Layla. There are 13 consorts in the empire, each of whom is given her own precious stone. The order is determined according to rank, but only one of them will become empress. Jenny is the mistress of the 12th palace in Lazurite, and Layla from the last 13th palace of Basel. Layla thinks that she does not deserve attention. Layla says that they are also rivals in the fight for the title of empress, and their husband is a cold and unfeeling emperor. But then, Layla says that the more allies she has, the better. Jenny laughed and agreed with Layla. And then Layla and Jenny shook hands. Smiling at each other, the girls had no idea that someone else would come to them. When Layla saw Jenny's surprised look, Layla turned her head slightly and looked where Jenny was looking. Now Layla understood why Jenny was surprised. The emperor himself stands before Layla, who wouldn't be surprised. Jenny was a little scared for Layla, because the emperor doesn't treat Layla very well. And the men began to worry about Layla, because the emperor seemed unhappy with Layla. Layla was shocked that the emperor was in such a place and greeted Louis. Layla was surprised when the man asked her to raise her head, but she was even more surprised that the emperor wanted to know something. Layla began to be frightened by the way Louis began to look at her. Layla asks what the emperor wants to know, but she herself was very scared from such pressure. Layla understands that even a doctor who has just finished a night shift does not have such a fierce face. Louis says he was told she made dessert, but then Louis asks Layla why she didn't come to dinner. Louis needs to find out what kind of dessert it was, but Layla is so nervous that she can't say anything. Louis asks if Layla made such a sweet dessert. Layla says that she was told that Louis did not try the dessert. Louis lied that he hadn't tried it, but then asked that sugar wasn't imported into their country, right? Suddenly, Louis asked if Layla had brought sugar from her kingdom. Layla realizes that if done right, this could be her chance to introduce maple syrup. But Layla understands that the slightest mistake, and she could be accused of colluding with the enemy and executed. Layla understands that Louis is asking exactly about this. Layla understands that she needs to answer carefully. Suddenly, Jenny interrupts Layla and Louis' conversation, saying that it's all because of her. Layla hints that Jenny should keep quiet, because Layla tried for her sake. Jenny tells Louis that she passed out because she felt unwell, and that Layla took care of her. Jenny says that if anyone needs to be punished, it's her, but Louis says nothing. But Louis was surprised that Layla did not come to the dinner party because she was helping someone else. Louis looked at Jenny silently, not knowing what to say. Suddenly, Louis turns and walks away, saying that he is not going to punish anyone and that they can go. The four breathed a sigh of relief, for the trouble was over. Layla is surprised that Louis suggested that the girl could secretly bring sugar with her, since Louis had previously ordered the destruction of all his opponents. Layla watched the man go, not understanding what was happening. But Layla understood one thing. Louis was a very lonely person. Jenny sighed heavily, saying that Louis is always so scary. Layla agrees with Jenny, adding that the emperor is a very strict man. Jenny says that she is very worried about her future, because she is from the Lazurite palace. Layla says that at least Jenny has a symbolic stone, and then says that she has a headband. Jenny began to apologize to Layla, because she did not want to offend. Jenny says that when Layla is around, she feels so calm. Layla smiled at this, glad that Jenny was comfortable with her. But suddenly, Jenny suggested that Layla drink coffee, because her lands are located in the east of the empire. Even if they are often attacked by nomadic tribes, they also bring very tasty coffee. There are many nomads in the east of the empire, so conflicts there never stop. The Garth family is an influential family that guards the borderlands, said to have one of the most powerful armies in the empire, so Jenny has a knight as her servant. Layla took a cup of coffee in her hands and felt such a pleasant aroma, and Jenny smiled at this. Layla thanked her for the coffee, saying that she had also prepared a special dessert just for Jenny. Alex placed a plate of dessert in front of Jenny, and Jenny asked what it was in front of her. Layla explains that in front of Jenny is a soybean crumble cheesecake with rum raisins. Layla says that it is good for Jenny to eat foods that are rich in iron, because Jenny is anemic. Jenny asked again about anemia. Layla confirmed, saying that it was a condition in which the blood became less saturated. Layla asked Jenny if she had been restricting food, because that was why her health had worsened. Layla says she used ground-roasted soybeans instead of flour, so the dessert is also low in calories. Jenny couldn't believe that Layla made a cheesecake especially for her, but Layla asks Jenny to try the dessert. Jenny obeyed Layla, and took a small piece of cheesecake on her fork. Jenny really liked the cheesecake. Jenny says the cheesecake is not only sweet, it's also tender and moist, and the rum-flavored raisins are amazing. Jenny says that she didn't like raisins before, but she's ready to eat as many of these as she wants. Layla says that it's great because sweets help relieve fatigue, and Layla can also give Jenny a recipe. Jenny was very happy about this and agreed, because Jenny was curious about what it would taste like if she cooked it herself. Layla says that soybeans are rich in protein and help strengthen muscles. Jenny asked again if this was true, since everyone who came with her was working so hard. Jenny says she would be happy to thank them. But suddenly, the man dropped the kettle containing coffee. Layla and Jenny were scared and looked at the man. Jenny's servant apologizes for this incident because he did not mean to do it. Layla looked silently at Jenny's servant and understood that something was wrong with him. Suddenly, Jenny's servant becomes ill. Soon, Jenny herself noticed that something was wrong with William. As soon as William fell, the girls immediately rushed to him. And so Jenny, Layla, and Alex were in the room where not only William was, but other people as well. Jenny sat next to William's bed, worried about him, holding William's hand. Jenny noticed that William had a high temperature, and William's cough is getting worse. Layla asks Jenny not to worry, because the palace healer is known for his outstanding skills, and he will definitely cure William. Jenny sighed heavily, saying that earlier the healer had completely healed William's wounds with magic, and Layla asked what happened. Jenny says it has nothing to do with the current situation. That day, the knights were practicing sword fighting. William watched the knights and announced that there were 5 minutes left. Suddenly, William noticed a girl who approached him. It was Jenny who wished William good morning, but she said that she no longer needed to be called Miss, hinting at her status. William sighed heavily and disappeared, also wishing Jenny good morning. William is one of the bodyguards from the Grat family who came with Jenny, and William is also a childhood friend who always worries about her. But suddenly, a misfortune happened when the knights were training, and one of them lost his sword. William noticed something was wrong. The sword literally flew towards Jenny. Suddenly, Jenny saw blood. William protected Jenny from the sword, but ended up getting hurt himself. Jenny was very scared then and ordered to call a healer because she couldn't lose her childhood friend like that. That day, the healer helped William get back on his feet. Jenny says that the healer healed William's wounds that day. Layla drew a conclusion from the girl's story and suggested that the wound could have become infected. Layla understands that, fortunately, William has no symptoms of tetanus. William is young and healthy, so if she gives the boy antibiotics and provides rest, William will quickly recover. Suddenly, a healer entered the room to cure the patient. The healer says he was called for the patient's sake. Layla remembered this man. It was that same healer. William asks Layla and Jenny to step aside and not disturb him. Layla is outraged by this behavior because she is the emperor's wife, but no matter how rare and outstanding the healer is, Layla thinks that this is too much. Jenny asks Mark to quickly cure William, while Mark examines the servant, noting that he treated him last time. Mark says that these are common symptoms. Layla is surprised that this is not true. And so, Mark began to heal William with magic. And so, Mark healed William's wounds. Once Mark is done, he says that all that remains is to rely on luck. Layla was surprised by this, because you can't always rely on luck. Layla understands that relying on luck is only relevant for patients with chronic diseases or the elderly. Suddenly, Layla approached Mark, asking what kind of magic he used. Mark got angry, saying that he used healing magic. Layla asks about the contents and whether he has eliminated the cause of the fever, because if not, the symptoms will return again. Mark says that William was coughing, so the healer stopped the coughing, adding that Layla should be grateful because Mark took his time and used healing magic. Mark says that usually, patients' recovery is just luck. Layla realized that treatment in this world is temporary, and they still seem to have no idea about germs or immunity. After all, healers simply close wounds with magic, without washing or disinfecting them, and if an infection begins, all that remains is to hope for luck. So other patients, like William, suffer from high temperatures and have not washed their sheets for several days. Windows that do not open for ventilation. And the floor, which no one cleaned. That's why it's so dirty. It looks as if patients were isolated, without basic hygiene. And William's life is in danger. The healing magic is really powerful. But here the right knowledge is needed. The girl tells Mark that the cause of these symptoms is bacteria that got into the wound. After all, the body fights infection by causing inflammation, and because of this, fever and cough appear. And if proper treatment is carried out, the patient will definitely recover. But Mark says that Layla is not even a healer to tell him such things. Layla says that she is a nurse. Layla says she can't leave things like this. The knowledge gained in Japan is still fresh in Layla's memory, and the girl cannot watch patients suffer. Layla asks Mark to trust her with William, while Alex tries to stop the girl. Mark was surprised by such impudence from Layla. Suddenly, Alex stood in front of Layla and asked for forgiveness for the girl who was meddling in something that wasn't her business. Alex asks Layla to pull herself together because now is not the time to make unnecessary scenes. Alex says that the guy needs to secure the Emperor's favor and he shouldn't interfere in the fate of his other wife's servant. Alex reminds Layla that she is in the lowest position. Layla understands that this is true because she is the last of the 13 spouses and is already significantly behind the other spouses, and if Layla does not become Empress, then she will be kicked out, and the girl will have no place to return to, and Alex will also find himself in a difficult situation. Alex asks Layla if she really wants to fail again. Layla is silent, thinking about the man's words, and she says that she can simply turn a blind eye to a patient who is suffering right in front of her. Alex is shocked by this. He doesn't even know what to say. Jenny is shocked by this too. Mark says that the girl doesn't even know how to use magic. Layla understands that Mark is right, but she has the knowledge and skills. Mark still gave the girl permission, but if she fails, she will start crying and complaining. Then Mark will personally inform the Emperor that the wife from the Kingdom of Gragery killed the patient, and the girl will be asked to be sent back. The girl understands that if she is kicked out, she will not be able to survive in this world, but the patient is also fighting for his life. The girl says that she will not back down and will save the patient. The morning begins with hanging out the sheets. The maid asks why she should wash the sheets from the hospital, since it does not concern Basil Palace. Alex reminds that she agreed to this because of Layla's dessert. The maid says that this dish is called yogurt, which so temptingly lured her with its sour-sweet taste. Alex sighs heavily, saying that the maid is so simple-minded. Suddenly, Layla came with a basket of sheets, telling them to hang these up too. The maid asked why they were washing the sheets. Layla said that it was just washing, because the girl uses hot water to thoroughly disinfect, because cleanliness is the key to recovery. The maid understood and asked if it was possible to use healing magic. Layla says healing magic is wonderful, but as long as it is based on luck alone, it is not omnipotent. In this world, people rely too much on healing magic, but they don't have the basic knowledge. Even medicine is extremely difficult to find here. If they had the knowledge, they could save many more patients. There are no nurses or orderlies in the hospital. The few healers and their students work tirelessly. If we can prove that it is possible to help even without magic, this will help solve the problem of staff shortages. Probably Mark is so irritated precisely because of constant fatigue. And finally, the sheets were changed. The floors are clean as needed, and the windows are open to ventilate the room. After all, a hospital must be clean. And then the girl approached William to check his temperature. The temperature is not going down, and the cough has become even stronger. There are no medications, so you need to stay clean and support your immune system so that your body can cope on its own. But without lowering the temperature, the condition will not improve. The fever must be brought down urgently. And then, finally, Alex came up. Layla asked if he brought ice. Alex says that at this time of year, ice is only delivered from the ice house, and even if you hurry, it will take 3 days. Layla thinks they have magical devices, but they don't have refrigerators because it just snowed recently. Suddenly, Alex called Layla. Alex says he needs to step away for a while. Layla apologized for dumping too much work on the man and asked him to take a rest. Alex understands that the girl only thinks about others. But does Layla understand the situation she is in? And now you say that you will cure everyone. Alex sighed heavily, realizing the situation Layla was in. Alex doesn't even know what to do, because if Layla gets it, he will feel bad too. After all, Alex might find himself in a difficult situation. To unwind, the girl decided to go for a walk. Otherwise, all she does is rot in the hospital. And so, Layla finally came to the garden. Layla sees that many flowers have already bloomed. They are also beautiful. It seems that Layla was missing this. Layla understands that spring has come, and it was snowing just recently. Suddenly, a gardener came to Lelia, saying that if she came to the garden so often, she might get tired of it. Lael says that the garden is so beautiful that it is impossible not to come here. Alan says nothing and agrees with the girl. The man says he heard about her fight with Mark. Layla says that she wanted to bring down the patient's fever. The girl understands that Alan is well versed in plants and asks him if he knows any good herbs. Alan says he doesn't know, and that's what a healer should do. Layla says that it seems he shouldn't. Layla understands that no folk remedies are used here, and they rely only on the healer. Layla says that it would be good to get some ice somewhere. Alan asks again about ice. Layla says that it is needed to ease the condition of a patient with a high temperature. Alan says that when healing magic brings down the fever, the body becomes cool and the person immediately feels better. Layla says it's probably something similar, because applying ice can also help relieve symptoms caused by fever. Suddenly, Alan looked around and asked if she needed ice. But Alan asks the girl not to tell anyone, and Layla doesn't understand what's going on. Suddenly, Alan straightened his arm and made ice for the girl. Layla was surprised by this, because she didn't know that a gardener could have such powers. The girl is surprised at how beautiful it is, and she can't believe that the gardener has the same magic as Louis. Layla understands that it is simple, that magic and magical devices are commonplace for everyone here. In such a place, Layla, not having magic, feels absolutely useless. After finishing with the ice, Alan put the ice in Layla's basket. And he asked if this was enough. Layla agreed with the man. Layla understands that in such a quantity of ice, it can be used not only for compresses, but also for other purposes. Layla asked if it was possible to take ice. Alan allowed the girl. Layla thanked Alan and said that she would take it to the hospital right away, while Alan tried to find out about the dessert that Layla had given him to try. Suddenly, Layla stopped, hearing about her own sweets. Layla smiled, because she realized that the man had tried her macaroons. Layla asked Alan if he liked the macaroons. Alan said he did and wanted to know what they were. Layla says she is glad about it and will bring more next time. Louis realizes that he failed to find out about sugar again. And so, Layla finally ran to the hospital. The girl immediately began to make a compress for William, because if you cool the large arteries, it effectively reduces the temperature. Layla hopes that this will help William at least a little. Layla asks to tell William if it gets too cold, and William thanks the girl. William says it's very nice. Suddenly, Layla heard Alex's voice. Alex was all shaggy and still tired. Layla approached the man with a rag, asking what happened and why Alex was in such a hurry. Alex says he doesn't know if what he brought was useful. But Alex brought medicine, which surprised Layla. Seeing so much medicine, Layla immediately smelled it. Layla realized that there was a herbal infusion in front of her. After all, it looks like tea leaves. Layla asks where it comes from, because she thought that with healing magic there is no need. Alex apologized for his initiative, but he was at the trading market. Alex heard that in the East there is something called medicine. Alex said that it was sold by suspicious nomads, but Alex decided that it was better than if Layla was exiled. The girl understood that in the East they actively trade by land. They say that there are almost no healers in the East, so they started selling such things. It is clear that in countries with a shortage of healers, medicines find their place. Alex apologizes because he feels that these drugs cannot be used. The girl looked at the guy, not knowing what to say. After all, Alex did everything possible to find it. This deserves great respect for the man. And suddenly, Layla says that this can be used. The man was happy about this, because he had finally found a cure for Layla. But Layla says there is one problem, and asks Alex to try a little of this medicine that is in her palm. Alex will try the medicine at his own risk. From Alex's reaction, you can understand that he didn't like it. But still, Layla asks what the medicine tastes like. Alex says that it tastes like soaked grass, and also has an unpleasant smell. Layla understands that for those trying the herbal brew for the first time, the taste and smell may be harsh, but they say that good medicine is always bitter. But judging by Alex's reaction, William in his condition will definitely not be able to swallow it. Alex looks at the girl and understands that this won't work. Layla says that everything is fine because it will make this medicine tasty. While Layla is busy with very important matters, the maid hangs out the sheet. Rami is not happy about this because she really wants to try the yogurt. Mark doesn't understand what Layla does every day. The man remembered their previous dialogue, where Layla promised that she would cure the patient. Mark remembers how Layla loudly declared that she would cure, but she never brought in outside healers, and all Layla does is clean and wash. The healer hopes that maybe Layla will think about the patient who is forced to put up with the game of healer from the imperial wife, but suddenly Mark is called because of the patient. And so, in the hospital, everyone is sleeping and resting. Only William is sick with a fever. Layla realizes how bad William is and hurries to the man. Alex walked behind Layla, who was running to the patient to see how he was. Layla comes up to William and helps him sit up, because when he coughs, it helps. William thanks Layla, and the girl says that everything is fine and that there is no need to worry. Soon Alex approached Layla, who was about to show the medicine to William. Layla introduced William to a soft cheese parfait. William was surprised that dessert could be medicine. Layla tells William that yogurt is rich in proteins and calcium, and that probiotics also improve the intestinal microflora. William has never seen anything like it, and isn't sure yogurt can cure it. But William thinks it's a very beautiful dish. After listening to Layla, William took some yogurt with a spoon and began to taste it. Sweet, William thinks, then realizes it's sour and tender, but with a crunchy texture. You can tell from William's face that he really liked Layla's medicine. Layla says the crunch is from the cookie crumbs, and the sourness from the yogurt gives it a unique flavor that pairs perfectly with the medicinal supplements. In the East, due to the lack of healers, there is a culture of taking medicines. Layla thought that if she added them to the dish, it would be convenient. She hoped that the medicine would work. William thanks Layla and feels so uncomfortable that the emperor's wife is paying so much attention to him. Layla just smiled, saying that there was no need to thank her, because it was natural. William thanks Layla, smiling at her and saying that he is starting to feel better. And when William started coughing, Layla laughed at it, and yet, Layla is glad that William is getting better. Alex pours tea for William and asks him to drink it, because it has antibacterial properties that help prevent infections. William thanks Alex for pouring him tea. And again, the windows are open to ventilate the room. Jenny sat next to William, crying and happy that William had recovered. William apologized to Jenny for making her worry so much, but Jenny said that everything was fine, and she was just glad that William was finally getting better. Jenny looked at Layla and thanked her, saying that she didn't even know how to thank her. Layla says that it's all thanks to the medicine, and she's just glad that it worked, while Jenny notes how modest Layla is. Layla says that she makes Layla's recipe cake every day and eats it, and thanks to this, Jenny becomes better. Layla was surprised by this, and even the Hippocratic nails had disappeared. Looking at Jenny, Layla concludes that she is recovering quickly, and not only she, William can also stand on his feet now. And if Jenny continues to eat cheesecake, soon there will be no trace of the disease left. But Rami also recovered quickly, which is what Layla concludes. What is similar is that people in this world have bodies that respond well to diet, but if that is the case, Layla wonders why there is no culture of traditional medicine or drugs developed here. Even with such powerful magic, if the diet gives such an effect, it could certainly have been studied. Suddenly, someone you didn't expect to see comes into the hospital. Layla was a little surprised by this, as did Jenny and William, who were looking at the healer. Mark was surprised that William was actually healthy. William confirms this, saying that it is all thanks to Layla, because if it were not for Layla, William would not have recovered. Layla approaches Mark, saying that she didn't just rely on luck and the strength of the patient's body, but also focused on keeping clean and relieving symptoms. Mark was shocked and asked if there was any point in this. But here, Layla says that in addition, she gave the patient drugs with an antipyretic effect and tea with antibacterial properties. This is a treatment method that is used in Eastern countries where there are few healers. Mark looked at the tea and asked if she really treated with this tea. Mark doesn't believe Layla and says that William was just lucky, that's all. Layla smiled, because that was exactly what she expected to hear. Therefore, Layla provided the same assistance to all patients in this ward. Layla didn't lie. The boy and the old man are healthy. Those two men are also healthy, and the last one will be the healthiest of all in this ward. Mark did not expect such a result, because he always relied on magic and luck. The healer can't believe his eyes. he can help everyone. It's impossible. There were also patients with similar symptoms in this ward. And if everything depends on luck, then how did it happen that they all recovered? Layla reminds that all causes of illness are infections that start with wounds. When the immune system is weakened, a dirty room can worsen the condition, and Layla simply helped patients overcome the disease themselves. Mark asks Layla again whether the girl definitely does not possess healing magic or whether she may have attracted a healer from outside. Layla smiled, saying that even if she had magic, how could she cure a patient who had been abandoned by the courtyard healer himself? Mark understands that he has been suppressed and has no choice but to agree with Layla. Layla tells Mark that healing magic is truly incredible, but if you supplement it with the right knowledge, you can save even more patients. Mark asked again about knowledge, because apart from healing magic, he doesn't use anything else. Layla further tells Mark that with knowledge, even a person without magic like her can treat patients, and so Layla wants to ask Mark to let her work as a nurse in this hospital. And so, Layla was at the conference where her fate would be decided. There were many famous healers at the conference, and there was Mark, who was ready to listen to Layla and her ideas. Layla is so worried because Mark and the other healers agreed to come together for her, and Layla feels a lot of pressure. After all, to become a nurse, you first need to explain what you do. Layla began her speech to the healers by telling them that peace, safety, comfort, these three aspects are the foundation, and it is necessary to create a clean and safe environment so that patients can be treated in peace. The girl explains why it is so important to maintain cleanliness. Healers generally wonder why they talk about this, because patients who cannot be cured by magic have to be left without help. Layla realizes that the healers aren't particularly interested in this, and it seems they listen to Layla out of politeness, because she is the emperor's wife. But suddenly, someone raises their hand, wanting to ask a question. Layla allowed the question to be asked. Mark raised his hand, wanting to ask what advantage there was for healers in hiring these very nurses. Layla says that's a good question, and begins to explain to Mark and the other healers that the healers' workload has been greatly reduced, and if more patients are getting better with medication and care, the healers will be able to focus on the hard cases. Layla realized that Mark asked this to help the girl. And then another man asked a question, asking if she really wanted to take their jobs. Jessica denies this, because nurses only assist in the treatment that the healers carry out. Layla says that nurses operate strictly under the direction of healers, and if roles are clearly delineated, there will be no overlap in responsibilities. Also, Layla prepared an example of a simplified medical records log, and then Mark asked what Layla gave him. She says that it is a list of patients who were hospitalized due to wound infections. The healers were surprised that all of them recovered. After making a small bow, Layla says that with accurate knowledge, more patients can be saved than now, and they also really need their help. The healers began to seriously consider Layla's idea, while Mark sat and listened. Layla sighed heavily as she left the room where the conference was taking place, realizing that they weren't even trying to understand the importance of hygiene, let alone the need for nurses. The problem is not in Layla's explanations, but in the perception of healers, because the healing magic is so great that everyone relies only on it. Also, in this world, everyone has magic, but only a few can use such complex spells. That's where the whole problem lies. Therefore, the importance of healing magic is especially emphasized. No matter how convenient magic is, without the necessary knowledge, it is impossible to use it correctly. But suddenly, Mark comes up to Layla, asking how she is. Because she seems so tired, Layla turned towards Mark and was surprised that he followed her. Layla asks if Mark has come to pick on her again. Mark says that he doesn't fully understand her logic about hygiene and would like Layla to put it in writing. Layla was surprised that she was able to interest Mark, and the man asked the reason for her surprise, since he was asking for a written form about hygiene, which Layla had talked about earlier. Mark would like to hear more details. Layla can't believe her ears. Mark himself asks Layla to describe it to him in more detail. It's amazing. Mark says that Layla's words are interesting, but in some places they seem incredible, and that she will have to gain trust with results. Layla sighed heavily, realizing that Mark is right. But suddenly, the girl looked up at the man and asked him to answer her question. Layla asked if Mark was helping him, why he was caught, but did not expect that Layla would guess everything. Layla giggled and thanked Mark. Mark smiled at Layla, saying that she was unusual. Layla watched the man go, but the girl understood something, that there is not enough evidence yet to spread medical knowledge in this country. Suddenly, Alex approached the girl, and Layla asked what happened. Alex hands Layla an invitation to tomorrow's dinner. Layla took the letter, realizing that this was what she was supposed to do in the first place. 13 imperial consorts compete for the title of empress. There is a strict hierarchy between them, but Layla is at the very bottom, that is, in the Palace of Basel. And if Layla does not become empress, she will face exile. Without magic, if she were to end up on the streets, Layla would simply die, so she, Layla, must become empress at any cost. Layla tells Alex that she will definitely attend the dinner party this time. After all her life, Layla tried to survive for herself. But if Layla wants to change this world, then she needs to achieve results and become empress as quickly as possible. But first, you need to conquer Louis, because there is no other way. And if Layla can, she will definitely become empress. This day has come. The girl hopes that at this dinner party, she will show herself. Layla walked confidently to dinner to make a good impression on Louis. And so, the couple again talked about Layla, but now about the fact that Layla became a healer. And someone says that Layla does not have magic, and she could not become a healer, because healers have magic. And only Jenny was glad to see Layla, because after all, they could be considered friends. Layla also greeted Jenny, remembering the words she had said to Layla, but remembering that Louis didn't try her sweets. Because of this, Layla didn't bring sweets today. But suddenly, Leah, who is also Louis' wife, like Layla herself, approaches Layla. Leah asked Layla what brought Layla from Basel Palace to the dinner party. Layla greeted Leah. Layla said that she came to take part in a dinner party. Leah smiles at Layla, saying that she didn't mean it that way. Layla didn't understand anything, but this situation clearly confused her. Leah laughs, saying that she wanted to say that it was useless, because the princess has supposedly already been chosen, but Layla says that she has not been chosen yet. Leah continued to smile at Layla as she showed her necklace. Leah says that this garnet stone is a gift from Louis, and that it made her a wife of the highest status. Layla says it's possible now, but Layla got an empty headband. Leah looks at the girl, saying that just recently, the emperor did something for Leah. Leah says Louis arranged a dinner especially for her. Layla was horrified, because she did not expect this. After all, Layla thought that Louis was busy, but the girl heard that no one knew what Louis did in his free time. But Layla could not believe that at this time Louis could see other spouses, but not her. The couple also look at Layla as if they are making fun of her, which cannot be ruled out. And Leah hints to Layla that she shouldn't have come to the dinner party. Layla didn't know what to say, because she was in shock. And finally, the one the couple had been waiting for so long came. It was Louis, who was waiting for his husband at a dinner that he himself had organized. The girls, of course, stood up to greet the emperor. The man glanced at Layla, who had finally come to dinner. Layla noticed this look and looked at Louis. Louis continued to look at Layla, not taking his eyes off her. Layla even thought she met Louis's gaze. And next to Louis, she stood and joyfully thanked the emperor for the previous invitation, to which Louis simply agreed. Layla noticed how joyfully Leah communicated with Louis, and the girl even felt sad about it. Layla knew that Louis and Leah looked good together, but Layla needed to talk to Louis. Suddenly, Layla heard voices outside the door, or rather the voice of Mark, who was going to come to them for dinner. And so, Mark enters the room where the dinner party was taking place. Layla immediately realized that something was wrong, because the healer didn't just burst into dinner for no reason. But Mark says that he urgently needs Layla, who must go with him. Layla doesn't know why Mark needed her. Mark says he needs Layla to go with him. Layla stood up from her seat and looked at Mark. But she didn't understand what was going on here and why Mark needed her. Louis stood up from his seat, asking what would happen. Layla looked at Louis, who clearly didn't understand what was going on. Suddenly, Mark approaches Louis, clearly telling the emperor something. Soon Jenny approaches Layla, and Layla says that something happened. Louis did not object to Mark and said that they would go to the Pink Palace, but obviously without Layla. Leah gets up from her seat and says that a dinner party is taking place right now. But Louis didn't listen to Leah. He needed to go with Mark to the Pink Palace. Layla realized that Mark and Louis were heading to the Pink Palace where the Empress was. Layla realizes that Mark has come for her, which means there is a patient there who needs help. Suddenly, Layla tells Mark and Louis to take her with them. Louis looked at Layla, not understanding what Layla was trying to achieve. Layla says she works at the hospital and asks to be allowed to go with them. Suddenly, Layla joined the conversation, saying that Layla knows no boundaries. Louis asked if it was true about the hospital. Mark confirmed it, saying that Layla from the Basel Palace works as a nurse. Layla was glad that Mark stood up for her. Louis doesn't look in Layla and Leah's direction, but allows Layla to go with them. Hearing this, Leah couldn't believe her ears and got angry. Layla was glad that Louis and Mark would take her with them. All the other spouses were shocked that Layla would go with Louis and Mark. Layla ran after Louis and Mark to help the patient. Leah was angry and beside herself about it. And so, Mark walks ahead of Louis, and Louis walks ahead of Layla, and together they walk to the Empress in the Pink Palace. The girl saw the garden she often visited, but Layla had never gone this far before. And so, Mark stood in front of the palace, saying that they had arrived at the place. The girl was surprised to see the pink one, which they had come to so quickly. Opening the doors, Mark lets Louis and Layla into the palace. Mark walks ahead, showing the way to the Empress. Layla follows Louis, and at the same time looks around the palace they came to. Suddenly, the girl saw a picture in front of her, which depicted a woman, and the color of her hair was similar to the color of Louis's hair. Layla decided to ask Mark who the girl in the painting was. Mark says that the painting depicts the Empress. She is undergoing treatment in the Pink Palace. Layla recalls rumors that the Empress was imprisoned under the pretext of illness, but as it turned out, the rumors were false, and the Empress was indeed ill. Mark stood at the door, opening the door for Louis. Opening the door of the room where there was light, Mark invited Louis and Layla into the room where the Empress and the healer were. The healer says he was waiting for the Emperor. The healer says that the Empress's condition has worsened again, and Louis sighs heavily at this. And behind Mark stood Layla, who was looking at the Empress. The Empress was pale and lying in bed. Mark helps the Empress to sit up and asks for a basin to be brought. Layla saw bloody vomit, and the blood was not scarlet, but dark burgundy. Judging by everything, the Empress is holding her stomach. It is clear that the woman is in great pain. Louis looks at his mother, and it is clear that he is worried about her. Louis clenched his fist. The man didn't know what to do with himself. The Emperor could not find the strength to calmly look at the Empress, because he was very worried about her. Suddenly, Layla looked at the man and saw how afraid he was for the Empress. Layla couldn't understand that such a cold and cruel person as Louis could feel fear. Suddenly, the Empress began to scream, holding her stomach. Layla immediately realized that the Empress was in shock. Layla ran up to the Empress and sat down next to her. But before that, Layla asked the Empress for forgiveness. A healer ran up from behind, asking what Layla was doing, and she replied that she was examining. The healer says that nothing can be done here, because even magic doesn't work. The healer says that Layla is useless, and that she needs to leave. Layla looked at the man who said she was useless. Layla ordered the man to leave on his own. The healer was shocked by such insolence. Layla started yelling at the man, saying that a doctor who allows himself to say such words in front of a patient's family is even more useless. The man got angry at the girl because he didn't expect her to answer like that. Suddenly, Mark put his hand on the man's shoulder. Mark says that Layla is right, because there is no use in a man now. Louis watches all this, silently observing Layla. Suddenly, Layla began to measure the pulse. It turned out to be weak. And then she checked the Empress's neck, and as it turned out, the pressure was weak. Layla realized that yes, it was still a state of shock. Lifting the Empress's shirt, Layla began to touch the Empress's stomach, asking if it hurt. Layla began to look further for a place where the Empress might be ill. Suddenly, Layla asked Mark what kind of healing magic he used on Anna. Mark said that Anna had been vomiting repeatedly and complaining of stomach pain, so Mark cast magic to reduce the pain. Layla realizes that Mark has not figured out the cause of the pain, which is why the magic doesn't work. Mark says that the pain disappears and then comes back again. If you treat with magic but do not eliminate the cause, the symptoms will repeat every time, just like in William's case, which means that you need to urgently determine the cause. The Empress begins to scream in terrible pain, and the vomiting of blood begins again. Louis began to tremble at this sight. He was clearly very afraid for his mother. Repeated vomiting with dark burgundy blood. At first Anna held her solar plexus area, and now complains of pain in the upper abdomen and has gone into shock. Layla hears missing peristaltic sounds. Possibly free gases have formed in the abdominal cavity, and the condition is critical. But Layla says that the Empress can be saved, but we need to act quickly. Mark asks if recovery is possible in such a state. Layla claims that it is possible, and then says that the Empress has a stomach ulcer. Mark was surprised by this, because this was the first time he had heard of such a disease. But not only is Mark hearing about such a disease for the first time, the healer has also never heard of such a disease. And Louis knows even less about this, but listens attentively to Layla and the healers who are in this room. Layla realized that no one here understood diseases, because why study nosology when there is healing magic? Layla would have to explain what it was. Layla says that a stomach ulcer is a disease in which damage appears in the mucous membrane of the stomach. It is usually caused by the bacterium Helicobacter. Stress or bad habits such as smoking, if the integrity of the mucous membrane is not restored, the pain will not stop. Layla says that Anna's stomach is now perforated, meaning there is a hole in it, Layla explains. Mark asks if this hole really just needs to be closed. Layla confirmed this, saying that if the damaged part of the stomach is restored with magic and the diet is monitored, then the condition will begin to improve. But there is one problem that needs to be solved. Layla asks Mark if magic treatment works on internal organs. Mark says he doesn't know this, because he's never done it before. Mark says that if the exact location can be determined, it might be possible to use magic to heal the damage. Layla is wondering how to arrange this, since they don't have an X-ray. But suddenly, the girl's gaze fell on the table with papers. Layla took some paper and began to draw an illustration for the man. After all, it's not for nothing that she knows how to draw. And so, after a couple of minutes, Layla finished drawing for the healer. Taking the drawing in her hands, the girl shows that this is what the approximate structure of the digestive system looks like. Mark looked at the drawing and then asked what kind of floral pattern it was, but Layla told the man not to pay attention because she drew them out of habit. By placing her hand on Anna's stomach, Layla shows where the stomach is, and anatomically it is located approximately 25 centimeters below the neck. In the area of the upper abdomen, the girl shows, and then he clicks on the place where it is approximately located. Because the girl pressed, Anna felt pain, and she began to scream in pain again. Mark thanks Layla for the tip, and is about to get down to business. And so, Mark got down to business. Mark began to use healing magic, which should help Anna, because that is why they gathered here. Mark was extremely careful not to harm the Empress. At first, Anna was in a lot of pain, and you could tell from the woman's face. But suddenly, Anna's expression began to change. A little more, and Mark finished healing the Empress. Layla asked if it worked. Louis, who was standing next to the girl, asked what the result was. Mark says the damage has been repaired. Layla felt better knowing that the damage was gone. Louis breathed a sigh of relief, because the trouble was over and everything was behind him. But suddenly, Louis began to leave his mother's room, and Layla saw it. Layla watched the Emperor go. Layla sighed heavily, because Louis just took off and left, and he was the one who was worried the most here. Even if Louis left without saying anything goodbye, Layla was still happy, and Mark's healing magic worked. But due to a long illness, Anna's condition is still serious. The Empress has passed the critical moment. But the Empress's digestive function has weakened considerably, and the risk of aspiration pneumonia or hepatitis remains high. From that day on, Layla began to look after Anna. Layla understands that healing magic does not restore weakened body functions, and we will have to use diet therapy and help Anna return to her previous rhythm of life through rehabilitation. But if Layla can handle this matter, even the healers will recognize her, but Layla understands that she cannot think like that, because Layla is taking care of the Empress herself. But on the other hand, the Emperor himself recognizes her. Suddenly, the Empress came out of her room, and with her the maids who were helping her. The maid asks if the Empress is having a hard time. The maid suggests that Anna go to bed, but the Empress refuses. The Empress says that food should be eaten at the table. Anna says she has already been lying in bed for too long. And then a girl comes in who brought food especially for the Empress. Layla placed a plate of rice in front of Anna and asked her to eat more slowly. Anna looked at the rice and asked if this was lunch. Layla confirms this, saying that her stomach is weak, and Layla prepared light rice soup for her. Layla says that it is something like soup cooked with rice, and then tells Anna that with a stomach ulcer, it is important to give the stomach light food, and also rice secretes mucus, which protects the connective tissue, but Anna did not let Layla finish and asked her to remove what was in front of her. Layla asked again. Anna said that she is from the royal family and cannot eat such modest food. And then they brought Anna different food. Layla understands that it is extremely dangerous to eat such dishes in her condition, and she also can't drink wine. And so, Anna took a small piece of meat on her fork and began to try it. But she couldn't eat this meat because she started coughing. Layla tells Anna that she shouldn't strain herself. Layla understands that Anna's menu is extremely limited and that her diet should be soft and mashed. Without even eating the meat, Anna asked for the food to be removed, and Anna herself got up from the table and went with the servants to her room. Layla looks after Anna, realizing that she wants to return to her life before her illness. Layla doesn't understand how to explain to Anna that this will take time. The girl sighed heavily, not knowing what to do in such a situation. But suddenly, Layla noticed that Anna had approached the window. Anna looked at the garden with sadness. Layla came up to Anna and asked if Anna was worried about the garden. Anna says that the roses will soon be in full bloom. Layla suggested that Anna really liked the garden. Anna confirmed with a smile. And then Layla realized that she needed to prepare food fit for an empress. Food that Anna would want to eat, and Layla realizes that this could work. The man was busy trimming the trees, thinking about what Layla had said then. That day, Layla said something that made Louis think seriously. Then, Layla made Louis believe that Anna would live. Louis hopes that his mother will be able to recover. And then the man hears Layla's voice. Alan says that she came again, but he doesn't pay attention to her. But Layla didn't just come to Alan, she came with a request. Alan says he is ready to listen to her. Layla thanks him for this. Layla asks if Alan has heard that she is courting the Empress in the Pink Palace, and Alan says that he has. Layla once again realized that rumors spread very quickly. Alan agreed with this, but then Alan asked what she wanted to ask him. Mrs. Anna wants to return to normal life as soon as possible. But for this, Anna needs to recover step by step. Layla understands that she must take care of Anna so that she can maintain not only her health, but also her dignity and self-respect. Layla focused on health, which caused her to miss what the patient wanted. This shouldn't happen. Layla is going to improve, so that Anna can get better. But first, Layla asks if Alan can share some flowers with the girl. Alan asked again about the flowers, and then suggested that Layla was going to use them to treat Anna. Layla says that she noticed that Anna likes this garden, so Layla wants to use flowers as decoration. The man was surprised by this and already wanted to say something about it. But he suddenly changed his mind and asked Layla again if Anna was looking at his garden. The girl confirmed, saying that Anna often looks at this garden. Layla says that Anna always looks down at Alan's garden. It seems the girl has developed feelings for the garden. And Layla notes that she likes this garden too. Alan listened to the girl silently, not daring to interrupt her. But suddenly, Alan gave the girl an empty basket. Alan tells the girl not to be shy about taking as many flowers as she wants. Layla was very happy about this. Alan took 2 more large baskets in his hands, asking how many baskets he would need. But Layla said that if he took everything he offered, the flowers in the garden would run out. Layla is so glad that Anna is loved. With such thoughts, the girl collects roses for the Empress. And behind Layla stood Alan, with 3 baskets, and Layla asked him to put them away. Taking 1 basket of roses in her hands, the girl said goodbye to the man. The man looked after the girl. Louis was about to leave, as the day was drawing to an end. But suddenly, Louis turned to the Pink Palace, where his mother was being treated. Louis sighs heavily. Louis remembered how happy he was as a child with his mother, how she smiled at him tenderly. But suddenly, Louis remembered the day he upset his mother. And Louis didn't even turn to his mother, but left. Louis realizes that he doesn't deserve forgiveness. Clenching his hand into a fist, the man looked at the Pink Palace with regret, because no matter how much he wanted to make peace with his mother, Louis understood that he did not deserve forgiveness. Meanwhile, Anna, who was walking around the palace with her maid by her side, was walking. Suddenly, Anna saw Layla out of the corner of her eye, and not alone, but with her servant named Alex. Layla says that she came to her, but not empty-handed. Anna looked at what Layla had brought. Layla says she made a chair so the Empress could move around while sitting, and then Layla asked if she wanted to eat while looking at the garden. Anna says that she will walk on her own 2 feet. Layla says that for a quick recovery, Anna needs to at least practice going up and down the stairs a little. And then Layla uses a clever trick, saying that moving while sitting is much more elegant. Anna looked at the chair a couple more times and drew a conclusion from the girl's words. And yet, she sat down on the chair. Layla realized that everything had worked. Layla was very happy about this and complimented the Empress. And since the Empress had already sat down on the chair, Layla asked if the Empress was ready to go, since she had prepared a special dinner for the Empress. And so, they arrived at the place where the dinner for the Empress would take place. Alex moved the chair closer to the table, and Anna could only admire the wonderful view of the garden. which is what Anna was doing now, because for a long time, the girl was able to go out onto the balcony to see the garden. Anna literally couldn't take her eyes off this beauty. If Anna could, she would look at this garden for an eternity. And so, Layla comes up to Anna, saying that she noticed that Anna likes roses. And hearing about these beautiful flowers, Anna smiled, confirming this. Layla says that Anna will be able to enjoy them to her heart's content today, and Alex opens the lid. Seeing what was under the lid, Anna was pleasantly surprised by this, and did not expect it at all. Anna asked if these were really roses in the form of food. Layla confirmed this, which made the Empress even happier. The first dish was finely ground pumpkin porridge, which is good for digestion. The second dish was fried chicken in strawberry sauce. Layla cut the chicken into pieces and then formed it into layers. And the third course, vegetables that have been cooked until soft to make them easier to eat, and are also garnished with rose petals and jelly. Suddenly, Alex brought another dish, which Layla is most confident in. Alex opens the lid. Before Anna was a yogurt bavarois with roses, and roses are known not only for their beauty, but also for being rich in vitamin C and polyphenols, which are good for beauty, while yogurt improves the condition of the intestines, promoting digestion. The whole dish is soft enough to be easy to eat, and the unique appearance is not inferior to the usual palace cuisine. Layla did everything possible to take care of the patient's health and wishes, because the patient's wishes are very important to Layla. Anna said that she would try, but before that, Anna asked again the name, because she could have heard Layla incorrectly. Layla is so happy that Anna is finally getting to eat, and says that Anna heard the name of the dish correctly, and now Layla is cutting a piece for Anna. Layla cut it beautifully and put it on Anna's plate, waiting for her to try it. And now, the long-awaited moment for Layla, because Anna took a small piece of dessert on a spoon and began to try it. And so, Anna was able to swallow a piece of dessert. Layla was very happy about this, because she tried so hard for the Empress, who could hardly eat normally. Anna says that the dessert smells amazingly of roses, and also has such a pleasant sweet and sour taste. Layla was over the moon, because the Empress liked it, and that was exactly what Layla was striving for. Layla stood next to Anna, smiling sweetly at Anna. Alex was pouring tea for the Empress, and the maid was watching all this. She liked to see that the Empress was eating again. After that very day, Layla began to cook food for Anna. The Empress's physical strength gradually began to recover, so rehabilitation gained momentum. Louis received news about Anna's condition through the healer Makar, but he did not personally visit his mother. Layla wonders if Louis is worried about his mother's condition. And so, Anna and Layla were walking in the garden. Anna tells Layla that she can now go for a walk on her own, and thanks Layla, and the girl says that Anna worked hard, which is why she was able to recover so quickly. Suddenly, Anna asks Layla if she is Louis's wife. Layla confirms this, saying that she is still a wife from the Basel Palace. Anna asks how Louis is doing. If he feels lonely, Layla says that she heard that Louis is very busy doing his job. Layla realizes that she knows practically nothing about Louis, but since Anna asks if the Emperor is alone, the Empress says that she is sure that it is all because of her. Layla does not understand anything, but she is interested in what happened between Anna and Louis, because it is not for nothing that Anna blames herself for Louis's loneliness.